ESPN2 Primetime College Football is broadcast in high definition, presented by Pioneer Plasma. Welcome to Toledo, Ohio, where tonight the Big 12 invades MAC country as Kansas takes on Toledo. The Rockets playing their home opener, where they've lost only twice the last 7 years. A matchup of two young quarterbacks, redshirt freshman Kerry Meyer of Kansas, and Toledo sophomore Clint Cochran taking over for the all-time leading passer at Toledo, Bruce Gradkowski. They square off next. Friday Night Football lands at the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio, where the Rockets host Kansas in a matchup featuring the Mid-American Conference and the Big 12. Toledo trying to avoid an 0-3 start for the first time since 1988. Kansas trying to go 3-0 for the second straight year. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Pasch. Glad to be back with my two favorite announcers, Bob Gilmore and Steve Matish. Oh, wait, it has been a while, but I do remember your names. Rod Gilmore, Trevor Maddox.
Thank you.
Good to be back, fellas. Mark Mangino for the Kansas Jayhawks believes that his team is ready to take the next step, which means challenging for a Big 12 North title. How important is this game to accomplishing that feat?
Well, you know, you can't win the Big 12 North without winning on the road. And later this year, they'll have to go to Nebraska and Iowa State. Mangino has to find out if his young quarterback can play on the road tonight in a very hostile environment. Kerry Meyer is a redshirt freshman. He has not been on the road yet. This is the toughest environment he will have faced today. A loud crowd. How will he handle it? The noise factor. All of those things are issues. And also, Toledo will put a lot of pressure on him, Trevor. He's got a lot of things to deal with tonight.
Well, Meyer may need to hold up his end of his shootout. A lot of people are favoring the 0-2 MAC team over the 2-0 Big 12 team that went to a bowl game last year. The reason? Passing. Toledo quarterback Clint Cochran has a huge arm. Has a lot of receivers to throw to, including all-MAC tight end Chris Hopkins. This is the kind of offense that if they get on a roll and if the defense is a half step slow, they can put up a lot of points in a hurry. And Kansas's defensive secondary has been a half step slow.
Yeah, they gave up almost 400 yards passing last week against Louisiana Monroe, but they do get a boost tonight. And with more on that story, we bring in Heather Cox.
Yeah, Dave, after giving up all those yards a week ago, they more than welcome the return of corner Aqib Talib, who returns following a 2-game suspension for violation of team policy. Coach Mangino decided earlier today not only will he play, but he will also start. Coach Mangino said he knows he made mistakes and he has learned from those mistakes. And he also says that he's one of the better corners in the country. This is a team certainly looking forward to both his skill and leadership being back on the field, Dave.
Well, Kansas is struggling pass defense. One reason to be nervous, and it doesn't help that Toledo is 34-2 at home since 1999. And the MAC is known for its upsets over BCS schools as well. That story in the kickoff next. Back in Toledo, Ohio, the Rockets of Toledo and the Kansas Jayhawks. And the MAC has been a conference that has knocked off many BCS schools over the years. Last week, Akron did it in Raleigh against NC State, 20-17. Back in 2003, Marshall on the road beat Kansas State, beat him badly. And those two teams will meet this week. And Toledo back in 2000 knocked off Penn State. The Rockets have also defeated Pitt, Purdue, and Minnesota here at the Glass Bowl. Kansas has struggled on the road, 0-5 last year away from home, trying to beat Tom Amstutz where he doesn't lose. They're 34-2 at the Glass Bowl since 1999. Mark Mangino, the Kansas head coach, had a moment to talk with Heather Cox.
Kansas is a young team playing its first game on the road. And, Coach, you guys have enjoyed tremendous success at home, yet 0-5 last year on the road. What does it take to win on the road tonight?
Well, to be honest with you, we've played very well on the road most of the time. We haven't closed. I don't think it's a factor. I think we've got a team now that's been together for a while. The kids understand. The field out here looks to be about 100 yards long, just like that one in Kansas, so we're going to be ready to play.
Toledo is a team that loves to air it out. How do you shore up a secondary that gave up 377 passing yards a week ago?
Well, you know, you have to learn from your experiences. And I think our kids learned, and we're young back there, but we're talented, and we're going to be fine. I think the kids settled down now. They know that people are going to try to throw the ball, and I think they'll respond very well.
Coach, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Heather. Mark Mangino, we mentioned in the open, trying to take this program to the next level. It certainly would help if they could score a victory on the road. Scott Webb to kick off for KU. Andrew Hawkins and Richard Davis back to receive for Toledo. We're underway here at the Glass Bowl. It'll be Davis taking it out. And Davis fails to get to the 20-yard line. Knocked out of play at the 15. Let's take a look at the Toledo starting offense. Clint Cochran, the quarterback, a sophomore, and has some pretty good skill players, including tight end Chris Hopkins, DJ Nichols, and Steve Odom, who has the nation's longest streak of games with a catch.
Yeah, veteran guys who know how to handle the ball. Hopkins, they use him a lot. Odom, he could set almost every passing receiving record here at Toledo.
39 straight games with a reception for Steve Odom. Lined up in the slot here on first down at the 17-yard line. Jalen Parmalee, a junior running back, led over 100 yards last week, gets the call on first down, and he is stoned right at the line of scrimmage by James McClinton. Well, we mentioned a couple of the impact players for this Toledo offense. How about the chore for Clint Cochran having to replace Bruce Gradkowski, the all-time leading passer at Toledo?
Well, he's not as mobile as Gradkowski, but he's a fine quarterback, knows how to put him in the right play. Parmalee, really a fine running back, knows how to run that inside zone. And Hopkins, the offense really revolves around him. They love to get the tight end involved in catching the ball, even down the field.
They gave Parmalee a yard on that last carry. Here's a 2nd down and 9 play. Cochran dumps it off, and it's incomplete. Intended for Parmalee. Now the Kansas defense with only 3 returning starters from a year ago, although Aqib Talib is back in the secondary, and that will help out guys like Butel, Kemp, and Muhammad.
Dave, and that is critical because there are so many receivers to spread the field that will be thrown at this secondary by Toledo. Each individual needs to cover.
Talib is a Bronco Nagurski watch list member. Missed the first 2 games of the regular year due to suspension. Shotgun here on 3rd down and 9. Cochran with time. And again, his pass short, incomplete, might have been tipped at the line. It was intended for Nick Moore. So 3 and out for Toledo, and the Rockets will have to punt it away. On to boot it away for Toledo is Brett Kern. And Brian Murphy, a very dangerous punt returner. Had a touchdown last week, a touchdown in the Fort Worth Bowl last year of 85 yards, and that was after he dropped the punt, picked it up and scored. And Kansas almost blocked that. Murph signaling for the fair catch. That's got to be interference. Flags fly. Toledo recovers it at the 40-yard line. But again, that should be interference on Toledo. You have to give the Kansas return man a chance to catch the ball.
Gee, even though you've been away for a while, you still remember the football rules. Good deal.
I haven't been that far away. I've been watching you guys every Friday night, learning from you guys.
Kick catch interference on number 27 of the kicking team. The penalty is 15 yards from the spot of the foul, and it's a first down.
So great starting field position for this Kansas offense led by redshirt freshman Kerry Meyer, one of the KU impact players along with Murph and John Cornish, their outstanding running back.
And John Cornish, the key here. The way to protect a young quarterback is to have a running back that carries the focus of the defense. And Cornish has not only power, but the speed to break away.
Cornish with 243 yards through the first 2 games. And he'll get it on first down as Kansas starts in Toledo territory, but nowhere to go as J.P. Bakaziak, the nose man, runs down Cornish. Take a look at the rest of the Kansas offense. An offensive line featuring David Ochoa in the middle.
And this offensive line is the deepest and most experienced that Kansas has had in many years. Another advantage for the freshman quarterback.
Dombach, Whitaker, Rodriguez, and Collins join Ochoa up front. 2nd and 10, no gain on the play for Cornish. And Meyer lined up in shotgun. Meyer doesn't even drop back, and his pass intended for Herford, but it's incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down and 9. Well, we'll see a lot of players on the field today for Toledo's defense. They'll rotate guys in and out of there, but there are 4 guys that they consider their key starters. Williamson, Mike Alston, who had almost 10 sacks last year, Herbert, and Nigel Morris.
Yeah, Mike Alston is a guy who will provide a lot of pressure coming off the corner. And Herbert in the backfield, he gets everybody in the right spot.
Alston, first-team MAC member a year ago from Columbus, Ohio, says he's not a big Ohio State fan, but he was glad to see him win last weekend over Texas. On 3rd and 11, Meyer has his tight end Derek Fine. First down inside the 30, tackled at the 26-yard line by Barry Church, Toledo's leading tackler. Take a look at Toledo's impact players on defense. We just saw one of them making a tackle after a 19-yard play, Barry Church. He and Archie Donald, both true freshmen for Toledo.
Yeah, you really have to watch Barry Church. He's one of the bigger safeties in college football, about 6'3", 215, and he's only a freshman. I mean, he's going to get bigger. And this guy's going to wind up being probably an outside linebacker at some point because he's so tall and he's got time to put on weight.
Those 2 players, Church and McDonald, from the same high school, Penn Hills in Pittsburgh. First down from the 26. It's Meyer on the cape, and Toledo is totally full. Meyer all the way to the 11-yard line. Tyrell Herbert made the tackle, but it's a gain of 15 yards and a first down.
Well, Tim Rose, the defensive coordinator, told us, Trevor, that one of the things that they struggled with early on was a little bit of option. And this is that read option where the quarterback fakes to the running back and takes it himself.
And Kerry Meyer has the speed. When he takes off, he's got the acceleration to get to the next level, and then everybody's chasing.
Myers accounted for 7 touchdowns already this year for Kansas. He'll line up in shotgun from the 12-yard line. And again, a quarterback keep. And again, Meyer has room to run. Touchdown, Kansas. That's the 4th rushing touchdown already this year for Kerry Meyer.
A pretty good way to get your young quarterback settled on the road. Let him do what he's done his whole life. Let him run the football. Good blocking at the point of attack, and let him get settled by running the ball.
And it creates confidence for him. They do need to win on the road this year, and Kerry Meyer is the key to that. Now he's got confidence.
Scott Webb on for the PAT. And a great start for the Jayhawks, in part because of a penalty by Toledo on the punt, allowed Kansas to start in plus territory. Mark Mangino's team marches down the field and scores on its opening drive. Kansas quarterback Kerry Meyer accounts for all of the Jayhawks' yards on their opening drive as they go 45 yards and get a touchdown.
Now watch the great block right in here by your running back, John Cornish. I mean, he comes up and squares up Heller correctly, takes him on. Heller, outside arm, is free, but he can't disengage. And that's because Cornish stuck to him with a great block.
It'll be taken by Davis. He'll take it out again. Last time didn't get past the 20-yard line. This time he will. Gets to the outside and hits the 30-yard line. So much better starting field position for Toledo on its 2nd offensive series of the game. Coming up tomorrow night on ESPN, Clemson and number 9 Florida State as part of Separation Saturday on ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC. Bowden Bowl 8. Clemson coming off a heartbreaker against Boston College. What do you guys think about that contest?
I think Florida State is as good defensively as anybody in the country.
And we saw that against Miami on ESPN a few weeks back. First down for Toledo. And on the carry, it's the backup Richard Davis, and he hammers forward to about 37, got 6 yards on that play. Can Clemson go to Tallahassee and knock off the Seminoles? They played well against Boston College, but just couldn't come up with a victory.
Well, history says no. History says Clemson always struggles in Tallahassee, but there's a lot of speed and an outstanding running game on that Clemson team.
That's our primetime game on ESPN tomorrow night. On ABC tomorrow night, Nebraska and USC. We'll talk about that game and the other games involving ranked teams as we go along here tonight. Cochran to throw. Hit from behind, but he delivers a strike, and it's a Toledo first down to the 45-yard line. Steve Odom with the catch. He now has caught a pass in at least 40 games in a row.
This is one thing that Toledo's coaches like about quarterback Clint Cochran. He's able to buy time. And now as you look at the receivers, there's plenty of time for Odom to get free. Why? Because Cochran sensed the rush and got extra time with his feet.
Here's McClinton, put good pressure on Cochran. He's been in the backfield a couple times already. Running play on first down. Davis picking a hole, and he gets slammed backwards by Joe Mortensen and McClinton, who the Kansas coaches think is their best defensive lineman, maybe their best defensive player.
You know, Trevor, you're talking about Cochran. He is not the same kind of quarterback as Bruce Gradkowski. I mean, Gradkowski, very athletic, runs around, great feet, all of that kind of good stuff. Cochran, he can buy you time, but he's really a pocket passer.
Yeah, so his time that he buys is just to move in the pocket, whereas Gradkowski would take off out of the pocket and burn you with a sprint.
Cochran has completed 72% of his passes on the year coming in. Started one game last year. Flag down as they set up the screen to Davis. He's to midfield, dragged down by Mike Rivera. 4-yard pickup, but again a penalty on the play. Well, not only is Cochran more of a drop-back passer, but you could say he's a more academic quarterback than Bruce Gradkowski. And I mean that somewhat in jest. He's a 4.0 student in bioengineering.
He's more academic than anybody.
Number 98 of the defense. Penalty is 5 yards from the previous spot and replay second down.
So they'll take the penalty. It'll remain second down. But you see the numbers on the field. The numbers in the classroom are more impressive for Cochran. You mentioned a 4.0. Takes classes like calculus and Trevor Manage's favorite, biotransport phenomena.
Is that the study of what happens when a train runs over a frog?
I don't know what it is. Clint told us when we met with him yesterday, and I still don't know. 2nd and 4 on the Kansas side of the field. Dump off to Hawkins. And Hawkins is going to have the first down. To the 40-yard line, 9 yards on the play. Let's get Heather Cox in here for more on Clint Cochran.
Well, how impressive is Clint in high school or college? He's never had a B, never even had an A- for that matter. Impressive considering this isn't a cupcake schedule. Look at his typical day. It begins with statistics, then followed by a little physiology for bioengineers and biotransport phenomena. The afternoon has a little respite, goes straight to the football offices to watch film, then off to practice, then more film, then typically about 4 hours of homework, asleep by midnight, up at 7 to do it all again. Now, he picked Toledo over Princeton and Cornell. He said it's just about discipline. I think it has to do with a little intellect as well.
Almost an interception, though, there, Heather. Blake Butel breaking up the pass. Como was in the face of Cochran on the play.
You know, Cochran didn't give himself a good grade for his performance in last week's ball game. He played well in the first game, but last week he had a couple of interceptions, had a fumble, and bobbled a field goal attempt snap, you know, that cost him 3 points. And he was sacked about 5 times. So tough week last week. Probably had nothing to do with his classes, though.
2 weeks ago in the triple overtime loss at Iowa State, 367 yards, 3 touchdowns, and completed 2 key 4th down plays on their game-tying drive. And a tough throw there by Cochran, trying to fit it into Chris Hopkins' chest, and he couldn't. Incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Cochran has a good understanding of this offense. He's been around it for 3 years now. But he told us that there's a big difference between the academic understanding in the classroom of what's supposed to happen and executing it on the field. He did in the opener against Iowa State. But last week, as you mentioned, Rod, against Western Michigan, he struggled. The key to this team this year will be Cochran being able to get it from the classroom onto the field.
Yeah, they're smart, and then there's football smart, right?
3rd down and 10. Cochran out of the shotgun. Being chased. 2 Jayhawks after him, and he throws it away.
That was football smart. He didn't force that ball where he had nothing. He threw it away, live to fight another play. Now you've got a 4th down. You can choose. You're going to kick, get some field position or whatever, but he didn't turn the ball over there needlessly.
You're right, Rod. He had Steve Odom, number 80, wide open deep in the middle of the field, but he was being chased. He would have thrown it on the run. The ball would have floated. The secondary might have had a chance to converge on it. He took the safe call, and now they're playing for field position. That's smart.
Kern on for his 2nd punt. Jonathan Lamb back to receive this time. There's sure hands man inside the 10-yard line. And he's going to let this one go and takes a Toledo hop. Well done by Brett Kern, placing the football inside the 10. 30-yard punt, no return. Kansas will take over with a 7-0 lead inside its 10 when we come back. And we'll also look more at Separation Saturday.
0-2's college football primetime.
Back in Toledo, an impressive first drive for the Kansas offense. And it's a 7-0 game. The Jayhawks trying to win their first road game since 2004. Kerry Meyer accounted for all of Kansas's yards on its first drive. Worst field position, though, has to start from the 8. Cornish on the carry. No room to run. A loss of a couple on the play. Bernard Faithful in there for Toledo.
On the last drive, Kerry Meyer was great using his feet.
And it was great play calling because using his feet allows him confidence. He can't make a big error like he could in the passing game. And by letting him run, they let him get his feet wet.
4 rushing touchdowns now for Meyer. See his numbers of passing today. That one completion was to his tight end Derek Fine, just his second catch of the year. So Meyer's done a good job over the course of the season getting everybody involved. Play fake on 2nd and 11. Meyer going for Fine again and well overthrown. Tyrell Herbert was in the area for Toledo covering Fine. It's 3rd and 11.
Now, Tim Rose, the defensive coordinator for Toledo, is really thinking about putting pressure on Meyer. He wants to attack the line of scrimmage. He wants to show Meyer different looks. He wants to try and force him into a mistake. And Rose has been around a long time, 27 years in college football. He's coached at a lot of places, Boston College, East Carolina, Minnesota, Memphis.
Was the head coach at Miami of Ohio from 83 to 89, so he knows this Mid-American Conference well. Well, Kansas on its first drive converted a 3rd down and 10. See how they do here on 3rd and 11. And the ball is loose in the end zone. Cornish picks it up, and it's going to be a safety. Mike Alston knocked it loose.
Mike Alston lines up over Cesar Rodriguez, and nobody blocks him. He's their most explosive defensive player in the front 7, and they like him to rush the passer in these kinds of situations because he's got closing speed and he can make a play on the ball when he gets there. Now he's coming from the left, unblocked. He not only closes, note that when he gets there, he reaches his hand out and slaps the ball away.
It's the guy who knows how to be an impact player. He was the MVP in the GMAC Bowl last year, had 3 sacks. They like to make sure they take advantage of his speed and put him in a position to make big plays.
How about the fact that's the first quarter points this year for Toledo comes on a safety? Maybe that's what Tom Amstut's team needed. Looked perhaps early that Kansas is going to dominate just by the way they drove down the field that first drive. But a great lift provided by senior Mike Alston on a defense that's playing 8 freshmen for Tim Rhodes.
Well, go back to Trevor's point, playing the field position game. That put the young quarterback inside his own 10-yard line. And they stopped him on first down. They made everything tough on him, and that allowed to set up a situation for Alston to knock the ball out.
And now Toledo gets the ball back and should have its best starting field position of the day as they elect to kick Scott Webb from the 20-yard line. Andrew Hawkins, Richard Davis, or make that Steve Odom back to return for Toledo. This one drives Odom back to the 11, to the 30, and out of bounds around the 34-yard line. Well, throughout this year, we'll forecast some of the games for you. And our first Friday forecast for tomorrow's action: can Nebraska's defense slow down USC and those big wide receivers on ABC tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, guys?
Well, I think that is the real question. Nebraska's secondary a little bit banged up and a little bit mouthy. Andre Jones, their cornerback, talking about beating USC when they beat them, and he's got to face a pretty good pair of receivers, and Steve Smith and Dwayne Jarrett.
Well, that's either prophetic or it's completely idiotic to be mouthy against those guys.
I'll go with idiotic.
On first down, Cochran to throw. Has a lot of time, but everybody's covered. Kansas' secondary doing much better tonight. Incomplete, 2nd down and 10. There is a penalty flag on the play. Again, we'll forecast 4 games. Every Friday night, as holding is called on Toledo. And our first one is this game tomorrow night, Nebraska-USC. Some think that USC is going to put up
holding
50.
Number 73 of the offense. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot, and replay first down.
I don't know if they're going to get 50 guys, but they should still be able to score, even though Nebraska's defense is much improved.
Well, Nebraska's best hope is to get pressure on John David Booty from ends Adam Carricker and Jay Moore. If they can do that, then Nebraska can leave more players back in coverage. You do not want those receivers to have extra space to run around.
I think USC will move the football. I think Nebraska has to find a way to run the ball, something that they really haven't established that they can consistently do yet.
After the holding, it's first down and 20 at the Toledo 23. Kansas brings an extra man to the quarterback, and the pass complete out in the flat to Hopkins, and now flags fly. Going to be a late hit out of bounds by Aqib Talib of Kansas. Actually, it wasn't Talib that had the late hit. He had the tackle out of play, and then Eric Washington came in late.
Mark Mangino mentioned that this field's 100 yards long, but it's only 53 1/3 yards wide.
After the play, a late hit by number 33 of the defense. The penalty is 15 yards from the end of the run, and it's an automatic first down.
Kansas lost all 5 of their road games last year, and Mark Mangino was telling his team, look, it's the same size field, the same size goalpost, but they just made a play that was an extra yard in width on the road that they haven't made last year at home.
From the Toledo 42. Back to the ground, and Parmalee. And good hard running by Jalen Parmalee out to the 46. 4 yards in the play. Cochran perhaps a little banged up. And guys, before we move on, I just want to ask you one more thing about this USC-Nebraska game. Do you think at all the report, allegation surfacing about Reggie Bush will have any kind of impact in terms of distraction for USC tomorrow?
No, I wouldn't imagine so. I don't know how that would be. I'm sure some of the players are still in contact with Reggie Bush, but you know, Pete Carroll does a good job of getting those guys focused, and I think they'll be excited to play Nebraska at home. It's first home game of the year for them.
USC has won 27 straight at home. We'll have to monitor Cochran there, who is hobbling after the play. Quick drop on second down and nearly throws a pick. Aqib Talib read it beautifully and almost intercepted it. It was intended for Nick Moore.
If you want to watch a good cornerback, he's reading three-step out there. That's all Talib does. He's watching Cochran 1, 2, 3 step, and when he sees that, he drives on the receiver.
Watch Cochran's eyes. He only looks one place, and that's what Talib is reading. He jumps it when he sees the eyes go there and nowhere else.
And we also see why Talib is a defensive back, not a receiver. That could have easily been a touchdown.
Got to catch the ball, huh?
3rd and 6. Blitz coming. Flag down. Another flag. Cochran going to take off and run. He's going to be well short of the marker. Stepped out at the 47. But again, penalty flags on the play, but it's going to be holding against Toledo. And Cochran really struggling with his legs. We've seen him limp a couple times. They only have freshmen to back him up, including a true freshman, Aaron Opelt. Brandon Summers, who's also the backup punter, is listed at number 2 at the quarterback position on the depth chart.
Holding on number 70 of the offense. The penalties decline. It's down.
Against Iowa State in the opener, Cochran got cramps in his legs late in the game, and that took a lot of velocity off of his throws. If he's limping right now, and it looks like he is, he needs his legs to get that live arm in play.
3rd punt of the day for Toledo, as they're going to look a little bit closer at the right leg of quarterback Clint Cochran. Lamb is back to receive the punt. Lamb hit immediately. They did give him room to catch it this time, and he's dropped at the 20-yard line. Kansas 7, Toledo 2. 6:29 to go in the first. Clint Cochran hobbling for Toledo at the quarterback position. We'll continue to monitor his status as we go along here tonight.
Back in the Glass Bowl in Toledo. Kansas up 7-2, and the medical staff for Toledo looking at starting quarterback Clint Cochran. What they're doing is testing his right knee. They've done an ACL test. They've also talked to him about pain, popping, if they've had any clicking. Right now, they're continuing to assess. So far, backup quarterback Brandon Summers is up, working out that right arm. We'll see on the next possession who takes the field, guys.
And Heather Summers has thrown only one pass this year, and it was an interception. He is a redshirt freshman. Cochran is a sophomore. Back to the ground on first down for Kansas. Cornish just thrown down, and a penalty flag on the play. J.P. Bukasiak made the tackle for Toledo, but again, we have a hanky on the field. Cornish, a senior from Canada. He was actually drafted by the Calgary Stampeders of the CFL, but elected to stay in school.
He was a first-round pick.
13th overall.
Personal foul, grabbing a helmet opening on number 96 of the defense. The penalty is 15 yards, and it's an automatic first down.
So that's why it looks so awkward the way Cornish went down. It's because Bukasiak had his mask.
Look at Bukasiak go to his right and gain the penetration. Now he's 6'6", so he reaches all the way across, and then he just inadvertently gets the helmet instead of the shoulder pad or the jersey.
Yeah, but see, he never let go. And if you let go of the helmet, then it'll be a 5-yard penalty. But he turned that thing all the way around.
From the Kansas 36-yard line. Into the flat. And out to about the 40. Gain of 4 on the play. Dexton Fields with the catch.
Now this play, first down, they're trying to take pressure off of Meyer. He takes a hit here. Now the idea behind this is simply to have the screen pass operate as a running play, get 3 or 4 yards, and stay out of 2nd and long. But Meyer had to take a hit for that one.
To take a hit on this kind of a play, which is supposed to come out quickly, is a win for Toledo, and it will add up and accumulate for Meyer.
On 2nd down and 6, little option. Cornish trying to get to the outside, hurdles a defender and picks up the first down. He got 9 on the play to the 48. Tackled on the play by Stephen Morrison.
Kansas did a real nice job of sealing off that corner and allowing Cornish to get to the outside.
And when he got there, fullback Brandon McAnderson, number 35. Take a look at the block that he throws at the very edge, which allows those last 5 yards to be gained.
Now, this offense is really designed to be quarterback friendly for Meyer, to not put much stress on him and make him be perfect.
Toledo showing blitz here on first down. Meyer's pass pulled in for another Kansas first down to the 39-yard line. Marcus Henry, who has 2 touchdowns this year, gets about 13 on the play.
You know, they give him throwing lanes. They make sure that they move defenders, watch them move people out of the way so he has a lane to throw the ball into, clearing things out so he can see clearly where to throw the ball.
One thing I worry about, Rod, was that he stared at that one receiver the entire time. That was nice. But if he keeps doing that, the safeties are going to start to get a feel for it. And we may see that bite him later in the game.
Football is in Meyer's blood. His older brother Dylan, quarterback at Kansas State. His brother Shad played tight end in the NFL. That pass is caught out in the flat by Murph at the 43. They got, or make that the 38. So only 1 yard on the play. So Kerry talks often with his brother Dylan about playing quarterback in this league, and those two will meet November 18th when Kansas takes on Kansas State. That was a pretty good coup by Mark Mangino to get Kerry Meyer, who's from Pittsburgh, Kansas, to stay and play in Lawrence.
Well, what would you do? Would you go to Kansas and play against your brother, or would you go to Kansas State and sit on the bench behind him?
Yeah, but it's only 1 year. You get a chance at, well, 2 years. His brother's a fifth-year senior.
It's your brother. Come on. He's going to give you grief.
We did ask him that. He said really the brother was not a factor at all in the decision making. Nice play by Alston again. 2-yard loss on the play. Alston with 2 sacks already.
Well, when you look at some of the great brother quarterback combos, Peyton and Eli Manning, Casey and Rick Clausen, Ty and Coy Detmer, they never got to play against each other in a game. And in November, if everyone stays healthy, the Meyer brothers will face off.
We mentioned Shad, who was a tight end with the Saints. Played in the NFL for 6 years, and Adam played at Pittsburgh State. He was done back in 2003. Brandon McAnderson into the game on 3rd down and 10, flanking Meyer at the Toledo 39. Meyer's pass incomplete. Intended for Marcus Herford, a little bit out of his reach, and it's 4th and 10. And Mark Mangino is going to punt the football.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the way that Mark Mangino is helping his quarterback, really making things easy for him. Even on that last play, they didn't complete the pass, but he brought all the protection to the field to make sure that Meyer wouldn't get hit. He's keeping his confidence up.
Well, that's where the pressure has been coming from, and now they're blocking them.
Odom to receive this Kyle Tucker punt. Odom going to let it go. There's a Kansas player down there, but the ball eludes him and goes into the end zone, so Toledo will take over the 20-yard line. Well, Mark Mangino, as we talked to him this week, said he doesn't want to rush Kerry Meyer. We asked him if the fact that he wants to take this program to the next level puts a lot of pressure on Meyer. He said, no, I just want him to play quarterback. I don't want him to be the entire offense. But clearly, Meyer, at least right now, for 2006, is the guy to get them to that next level.
Well, Mangino had a plan when he came in here. I mean, he knew what he wanted to do to turn this program around. He had been at Oklahoma. He had been at Kansas State, where they had to rebuild those programs. And he started by working with his defense, and now he's bringing the offense along.
Meyer quickly moved ahead of Adam Barman, who started some games as a freshman. Barman, a senior backup quarterback. Play fake. Cochran throwing on the run, and it's incomplete. He was trying to hit Chris Hopkins. Well covered by Jerome Kemp. Hopkins wanted a penalty for pass interference, but did not get it.
You know, Cochran did not look as comfortable to me rolling out there. I mean, we saw him come off earlier with the knee, and they come right out with the rollout, and he just didn't look quick with his feet. And I just don't know that they're going to be able to use him on rollouts and those types of things when he's really a drop-back quarterback anyway.
And he had Odom wide open again, and he didn't see him.
Play clock at 5, and Cochran has to burn a timeout.
Timeout. Toledo. First timeout.
Well, let's check in with Heather Cox for more on Clint Cochran.
I certainly had my eye on Clint during that last series. He was testing that knee quite a bit, doing 3-step drops on the sideline. Then he got on the phone with coaches, talked to him a little bit, then was working with the medical staff. He has received some medication, and I did overhear him say it felt very loose and was tremendously painful. But so far, Clint Cochran back in the ballgame for Toledo, guys.
Well, you know, Heather, if you're right about that, they're going to have to change the game plan a little bit. I don't think they can continue to sprint him out, roll him out when that knee is bothering him. They're going to have to find another way to do those types of things with the ball there. They can't ask him on that bad knee to run the offense that way.
Well, we said at the beginning of the show that Clint Cochran is a promising young quarterback, but he's not Bruce Gradkowski. He doesn't have his mobility. That's not his game.
No, it's not. I guess who knows that? But defensive coordinator for Kansas, Bill Young, he sees Cochran out there limping around, and you know that he will go after him more and make him run, because if he's limping, go after it.
Yeah, they're going to have to go to quick passes and things like that to get the ball out of there. Otherwise, with that right knee, if it's painful and bothering him, he's going to be a sitting duck back there.
When they did run the ball, they had some success, but they really haven't tried to establish a running game with consistency. Only 5 rushes, 10 pass plays by Toledo, and a penalty flag.
The other thing is
A dead ball foul. A start by number 91 of the offense. Penalty is 5 yards. It's still second down.
there just doesn't seem to be any rhythm to this offense right now, and they may have to change the pace and try to do something like the no huddle that they used to do in the line.
Well, that's one thing that they are getting into now, Rod. That's a good call, this no huddle, because when this offense is on a roll, it's hard to stop. But so far, we've got a square wheel out there. It's not working.
Well, they got to stop committing penalties, first of all. That's 4 already on Toledo, and they've had 2 15-yarders already. Parmalee on second down. Powers forward to the original line of scrimmage, the 20. Mike Rivera, the leading tackler for Kansas this year, makes the stop.
Well, now we've got 3rd and long. Cochran is going to have to drop back into the pocket. Kansas's defense knows this, and they know he lacks mobility. Will they blitz?
Well, and they've put their nickel package, their 5 defensive backs on the field. They'll bring their pressure package from one side or the other.
Only 22 passing yards against Kansas's defense, which allowed 377 last week against Louisiana Monroe. And the ball is out. Cochran falls on it. It was a fumble. It was knocked free by Brandon Duncan. He got his hand on the arm of Cochran before it went forward, and he fumbled the ball. Heads up play to jump on it, though.
Well, they show pressure here. Keep your eye on the defensive linemen. See them coming out, showing that zone blitz. And there you see Cochran. Now he's looking back in throwing lanes and finding linemen where he thought he would be free. Here you see the defensive lineman dropping back there and there. And that's what he's facing now, and he has to clutch the ball because he didn't expect him to be there.
Turn to boot it away. A low liner, and it hit a Kansas player. It's loose on the near sideline, and it goes out of bounds. That hit a Kansas player, and had Toledo fallen on it, it would have been their ball. And Brown, doing all that he could to catch up to it, could not.
As the ball comes down, yep, hit him right in the hand.
Marcus Herford.
It's really kind of, that's a horrible bounce for Toledo because it just went for that sideline on a beeline. Normally a football is supposed to bounce funny, isn't it?
Did you see Tim Rose on the sideline there? He grabbed his head. The defensive coordinator was, oh no, because now he knows his defense is starting off in bad territory.
And they continue to monitor the right knee of Clint Cochran. They're going to put a sleeve on that right leg to help protect it. Meanwhile, Kansas starting in plus territory for the second time today. Meyer with a touchdown run, the lone TD in the game. Toledo had a safety after Meyer fumbled in the end zone, and Cornish recovered and got taken down. Nice pass on the move by Meyer to Derek Fine. Another catch for the senior tight end from Oklahoma, and it's a first down.
You know, we talked earlier about Mangino and his building this program, starting with the defense, you know, taking fast guys and putting them on defense so the defense would be better. They've established that. Now he's working with the offense. He's trying to get his young quarterback developed, confidence, and they've got some athletes at the skill positions to throw the ball better.
And find one of those guys, a tight end, that can catch the ball and be a viable receiving target.
From the Toledo 37, 1st and 10. Meyer, pass behind the intended receiver, incomplete. It was intended for Marcus Henry, as Cochran is going to go probably warm up in anticipation of his next series as they've put that sleeve on that right knee. 2nd down and 10 for Meyer in Kansas's offense.
But I'm impressed with Meyer's demeanor and body language on the field. You look at him walk around, he's very calm. You look at his face, he's very calm. He doesn't seem like a freshman on the road.
You know who he is? He's Sunshine. Remember the Titans? He looks like him.
I remember.
Yeah.
On 2nd and 10, they run the option, and Meyer going to kick. He gets belted by Keith Forrestall at the 31-yard line. Picked up 6 on the play. Meyer's been pretty good rushing the football today.
You look at the hair hanging out of the helmet and all that kind of good stuff. That's a Sunshine look.
He's a dead ringer, no question. 7-2 after 1 quarter of play here in Toledo. Welcome back to Toledo, home of the Mud Hens, the AAA affiliate for the Detroit Tigers. Toledo in a playoff series right now with Rochester down 2-1 in the series, but leading game 4 tonight, 4-0. Trevor, I know you used to raise Mud Hens, so you're definitely a fan.
I just ate Mud Hens. And you know what they taste like?
Chicken.
Chicken.
So you've had them too, apparently, Rob. 3rd down and 4 for Kansas at the 31 of Toledo. Meyer tried to throw it to a spot. It was nearly picked off by Nigel Morris. It was intended for Henry.
Kansas has consistently outnumbered them at the point of attack. Look, there are 4 blockers against 3 defenders on that side. And here they come with the options. There just aren't enough bodies to fill all the gaps on the option. They did it on the touchdown as well.
Kansas going to try a long field goal, guys. 48-yard attempt. Scott Webb has attempted only one this year, and that was from 27 yards. And this is going to be off the mark. So it's no good for Scott Webb. He's 0 for 2 on the year. So despite the fact that Kansas looks dominant in offense, Mark Mangino's team only has 7 points and only leads by 5.
So Toledo has an opportunity to find some rhythm for their offense if Cochran is okay. And that right knee, we're not certain how much of an impact that's going to have on his ability out there.
Well, he never was going to be dangerous running the ball, but he needs to be slippery enough to buy time in the pocket. How much will that knee affect that slipperiness? We'll see.
Toledo has more penalty yards than yards of total offense so far. 45 penalty yards, only 33 yards on 17 offensive plays. Cochran changing things up. Got to get the snap off.
Won't happen.
And did they use a timeout? Or was
Dead ball foul. Delay of game by the offense. Penalty is 5 yards, and it's still first down.
So already burning one timeout, perhaps didn't want to take a second one, rather take the penalty.
And that's one of the impacts of the new rule, because they had the clock start with a change of possession, and they came off the sideline, and they should have been able to get that play off, but they took too long, and the play clock ran out of them.
Hold off on that, Trevor, because I know you have an opinion. And as we get closer to our Friday night debate, you guys will talk about the new clock rules. First down and 15 after the penalty from the 26. Kansas blitzing. And Cochran gets away from a defender. How did he not get sacked there? And it's incomplete. Rodney Allen was right in the face of Cochran. Cochran just shed him. And Mr. Allen knows that he had a sack.
He had a sack, and he also knew that he had a quarterback that is a little bit lacking in mobility. On this play, they brought 7 guys. They blitzed the whole house in order to get this kind of pressure to force Cochran to move.
Second and 15. Play fake. Cochran throws a dart to Odom. Odom run out of play by Rivera on the sideline at the 38-yard line. That's a 12-yard pickup. Second catch today for Odom, 16 on the year.
Well, watch Odom. There he is in the slot as he comes out. Plenty of room out there as you see number 1, Nick Moore, run off the corner out there to lead. And that creates the space. A lot of room for Odom just to run his out pattern.
And note that they moved the pocket. He was rolling out, expecting those pass rushers to go right for the pocket.
That's the longest play of the first half for Toledo's offense, 13 yards. They run it on 3rd down and 2. And tackled very close to the line of scrimmage is Richard Davis. We'll see, based on the measurement, whether he got it. Jerome Kemp came up from his strong safety spot to make the tackle. It is a first down.
I say I'm used to seeing Toledo get right to the line of scrimmage and move it as we take a look at that first down run by Davis.
It's just a lot of effort. It's a good job of seeing where the defenders are coming from and sliding to the side just enough to get just enough yardage for that first down.
Cochran trying to set up the screen, finds Davis, and did a great job to stay in bounds and get back to the line of scrimmage. Eric Washington on the stop. Bring up 2nd and 10.
Just take a look out here to the left of the screen and watch Davis on the screen pass. See him stay in bounds. 1, 2, one more step. He does stay in for a step.
Tom Amstutz in his 6th year has led Toledo to bowl games 4 of his last 5 years. A more fit Tom Amstutz dropped 50 pounds in the offseason. A draw here on 2nd down, and a nice play call by Amstutz and company. Out near midfield is Richard Davis. Kemp made the tackle.
Well, how about that? Tom Amstutz changed his diet, joined the program, the Get Fit Toledo program, and now he says he's kind of cut back on the cookies. He's eating more fruits and vegetables and all the kind of good stuff you're supposed to eat.
And he said that he wasn't the poster child for fitness, and they said, you know, that's the whole point, Coach. And he's already had a lot of great success.
Toledo Tom, they call him, a graduate of 1977 of Toledo, a Toledo native. Cochran drilled as he gets rid of it, and here's Hopkins with running room to the 35-yard line. 16-yard pickup and a Toledo first down, and Cochran's okay.
I'm not sure he's okay. He's getting through it. I think he's laboring out there. He didn't have anything on that ball, and he's walking back to the huddle. Watch the shot he takes at the end of this. You'll see this ball. It barely gets out there. There's nothing on it by Cochran, but Hopkins is able to pick it up off the ground. But watch the hit he takes here.
And that's Joe Mortensen that'll come in and start it, and then he gets hit by a defensive end to finish it.
Quick pass out onto the flat to Andrew Hawkins, and the speedy Hawkins bumped out of play inside the 35 at the 32 by Aqib Talib. 6-yard pass play for Toledo.
You know, Trevor, it looks to me like Cochran is almost trying to throw off of one leg, like he's trying to take pressure off of that right leg when he throws the ball.
And we have experience seeing this season with him in the Iowa State game in overtime when his legs cramped up. There was a 2-point conversion to tie, and the ball floated instead of being sipped, and it was knocked away, and that's why they weren't able to tie and go to another overtime. We're seeing the same thing now. He's forcing it with his arm.
Injury different, though. Cramps that game, knee this game, the right knee. 2nd and 5 at the 32. Cochran moving out of the pocket and throws it away. Got drilled out of play by Mike Rivera. No penalty flag down, though. 3rd down and 5. And when you're rolling out of the pocket like that, as long as you get it through the neutral zone, you can throw it away out there.
Look at the speed that he rolls with, though. You know, he kind of drifts out there. He's not really sprinting out there, and had he sprinted out there, he might have had just another couple of seconds to look downfield.
Third and 5 at the 32-yard line. They have a true freshman kicker, and this might be out of his range from here. Cochran finds Hopkins as go-to man. First down as Hopkins is hit on a play. Cochran is hurt again, and there's a penalty flag thrown about 10 feet away from Cochran. It's a Toledo first down, and they might get more yardage. Yep, roughing the passer against Kansas. Tack on 15 yards.
Yeah, Kansas dialed up the blitz. They went after him. Watch everybody come. He counts 7 blue hats getting in there, and then 1, 2 steps, and then a late hit there at the very end.
The passer on number 16 of the defense. A helmet-to-helmet contact. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, and it's a first down.
It was Brandon Duncan who made the helmet-to-helmet contact. But again, Kansas came with a blitz. 7 guys trying to get there.
And it was a good job by Cochran of standing in, because when he took that hit, it wasn't just a little mild helmet-to-helmet shot. It bodily forced him back, and he rolled like a bowling ball a couple of times.
Smart and tough. Clint Cochran, first down at the Kansas 13. Little toss to Parmalee. Inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Cut down by Jerome Kemp. 5-yard pickup on the play.
I wonder if taking hits like that to the head and to the rest of the body and hitting the ground like Cochran has in this first half so far is going to take any grade point average away from him. He's really taken a lot of shots.
I'll tell you what, with that many shots to the head, he still's got a better chance in calculus than the 3 of us together.
Hey, wait a minute.
Now you're a Stanford guy, sorry.
Yourself.
Wouldn't want to offend Mr. Stanford.
Oh, come on. Calculus isn't that tough, is it?
2nd down and 9. Parmalee to the 1-yard line. First down and goal coming up for Toledo.
Great play call. Number 91, Chris Hopkins, is going to pull across and trap. Take a look at the tight end come from this direction, and he's the one that's going to get the key block right there. That's going to allow the back to get through. Parmalee, shake your tight end's hand.
And people used to say that Hopkins was only interested in catching the ball. He's developed into a very good blocker.
First and goal at the 1. Cochran gives to Parmalee. And Parmalee is short of the end zone. Joe Mortensen made the hit.
Rod, when Joe Mortensen hits people, they look like they've been hit. Parmalee that time was just rejected out of verticalness. And watch number 8 right there. Boom! And he just goes down.
You know, we were talking about Nebraska USC earlier. Mortensen is definitely rooting against Nebraska. They started recruiting him and then backed off, and he came to Kansas, and he has no love lost for Nebraska.
13th play of the drive. Parmalee again. This time he's in. Touchdown, Toledo. And the Rockets will likely go for 2 as they take the lead, despite the fact that Kansas's offense appears to be the more dominant team. Actually, they're going to go for 1. They are going to try the PAT. And Rod, I know you like this move.
Well, obviously, they're not using that silly chart that some people use for determining when to go. It's not the 4th quarter. Who needs to go for 2 now?
True freshman kicker Alex Steigerwald on for the PAT. Trev might not mind seeing them go for 2. Steigerwald puts it through.
I agree with Rod here. It's too early.
Toledo leads. Got to be somewhat surprised based on what we've seen so far. Perhaps an injured quarterback for Toledo, but they lead by 2.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime.
Back on the campus of the University of Toledo in the Glass City, where Toledo leads Kansas by 2 after a 13-play drive. It lasted 4.5 minutes. They converted 3 third downs, and Jalen Parmalee got the touchdown. His 2nd TD rushing this season. No question, a safety forced by Mike Alston changed momentum. A little pooch kick as they're trying to keep it away from Murph, taken by one of the up men at the 40-yard line. And a big hit at the 47-yard line as Kurtenbach at the 27-yard line is taken down. Let's take a look at our Friday night yearbook. You might remember the name Chuck Ely, an outstanding quarterback. Back in 1969 through 1971 as Toledo put together the 2nd longest winning streak in Division I history, 35 straight games. Ely was a Heisman candidate that year. He's now part of the Toledo radio broadcast. And there's a rich tradition at the University of Toledo.
Ely never lost in high school. He never lost in college. In his rookie year in the Canadian Football League, he led his team to the Grey Cup championship. That's a winner.
Toledo has had a lot of recent success, going to bowl games in 4 of the last 5 years. Out of the shotgun is Meyer on 1st down. Leveled as he gets rid of it, incomplete. Sean Williamson, perhaps the best defensive lineman for Toledo, made a nice play defensively.
Plenty of time to deliver this ball, but Meyer runs out of time. Keep your eye to the top of the screen there. Watch Williams. He just comes around. Now there's time, and he finally gets by his man Collins with a move to the outside. And Collins is a really big tackle. He's at 6'6", 285. But Williamson just went right around him.
Option to Cornish. Past the 30. Cornish into the secondary. And all the way to the 43 for 17 yards. Greg Hay made the tackle downfield.
Well, I'm not sure if they intended this to be such a wide option pitch, but it sure worked. Take a look at how far Cornish is from the quarterback. He's not even in the picture when that thing gets pitched out there. That gives him extra stretch horizontally, and he's already breaking contain.
Didn't that look like Sunshine?
Looked like Sunshine. Sunshine's got an arm on it.
Sunshine pitching to the left, Sunshine pitching to the right.
Remember the Titans starring Denzel Washington, which was a terrific football movie. Well, I kind of like the Jeremy Shockey comparison as well. And they look like they're wearing Giants uniforms. Cornish into the secondary again. Inside Toledo territory to the 48. Herbert on the tackle. Kansas got about 9 on that play.
Yeah, but I like the Sunshine reference because Talib, the defensive back, the teammate of Myers, said, you know, he's a really cool kind of quarterback. He's calm, he's laid back. Even when he eats his lunch, he just kind of sits there and kind of surveys everything, takes it nice and cool before he decides to eat. So he's kind of like a cool quarterback like Sunshine.
Now you're just jealous of that full head of hair. Hey, I'm with you, partner.
Are we happy to have you back?
I'll ask you at the end of the telecast. And Kansas calls a timeout.
Timeout.
The
First timeout.
2 remaining for each team. Midway through the second quarter, can Kansas retake the lead on this drive? They trail by 2. A lot to cheer about so far in the home opener for Toledo, which is 34-2 at home since 1999. A 2-point lead on Kansas. The Jayhawks on the move in Toledo territory thanks to quarterback Kerry Meyer. Redshirt freshman making his first road start. 2nd and 1. Meyer out of the shotgun. Flanked by Cornish. Inside running play. Cornish gets slammed down at midfield. Forrestall and Greg Hay team up to make the stop. There is a penalty flag down, however. And there's a face mask on the play on Toledo, so that's going to give Kansas a first down. Was it a 5 or a 15-yarder? Here's Cooper Castleberry.
Grabbing the face mask on number 54 of the defense. The penalty is 5 yards, and the yardage is enough for a first down.
So instead of 3rd down and 2 or 3, it's a Kansas first down.
Number 54 on the left of the screen reaches, and he barely gets a hand on that face mask. It's almost like he just drew it across. I don't know that that should have been a penalty. That was a very, very tight call by the official.
5th Toledo infraction already in the game. Meyer under center this time. They go out of the eye on first down. Play fake. Meyer going deep. And it is tipped and almost intercepted. Beautiful play by Tyrell Herbert. There is another penalty flag on the play back at the 44-yard line. It appears that it is on Mark Mangino's Jayhawks.
Holding number 29 of the offense. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot, and we'll replay first down.
4th penalty on KU.
They're trying to make sure that they protect Meyer. He's been knocked around a little bit with the pressure, and now you see a couple of penalties. 6 total in the first 2 games, 6 tonight, and part of that is trying to protect Meyer.
Well, it is, and John Cornish is trying to become more of a complete back. Last year he showed he could run. This year he wants to show he can protect the quarterback. Good effort, but he got a hold.
Then just a 4th penalty, 6 penalties on Toledo. 1st and 20. Meyer, oh, beautiful shovel pass at the last possible second to Cornish. And he burst downfield all the way to the 34-yard line. He almost got it all there on 1st down and 20. Didn't look like a redshirt freshman on that play.
This is really just designed to be kind of a running play, a little shovel pass, a good block inside after you've drawn the defense up. And Cornish takes it off the field. They catch the blitz, much like a little screen here, and Cornish gets up the field. If you can catch him in a blitz with a little shovel pass, it works really well.
So they pick up 18 on 1st and 20. 2nd and 2 at the 35. Cornish again. Great patience. And then he explodes past the 20. Inside the 10. All the way down to the 2-yard line. Terrific patience and burst by John Cornish.
We see here why Cornish is so effective as a runner. He's not necessarily a speed burner, but nobody seems to catch him from behind. He's not necessarily a power back, but he's able to run through tackles. And that combination keeps defenses from being able to tackle him as if he were a speed guy with no power or a power guy with little speed. And he's able to bust off runs like that.
Over 100 yards in each of his first 2 starts. And they give it to the fullback, McAnderson. And he's in. Touchdown, Kansas. Mark Mark Mangino mixes it up there. Brandon McAnderson, a junior fullback, gets his first touchdown of the year.
And he's the guy you want to give it to down there at about 235 pounds. Watch him power his way in here. Little block and finds a soft spot, and then 235 pounds, legs churning right into the defensive back Herbert.
Scott Webb on for the PAT. Great response by Kerry Meyer, John Cornish, and the rest of the Jayhawks offense after Toledo scored to go up 2. 14-9 Kansas leads. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about one of the reasons why Tom Amstutz dropped 50 pounds, and it involves Trevor Maddich. Back after this.
What?
Back in Toledo, where Kansas has just scored, and it's 14-9 Jayhawks with 6:44 to go in the second quarter. We were talking before the break about Tom Amstutz dropping 50 pounds. One of the reasons why is he is heavily involved in Kempo sword fighting. He will go and work out, and he sometimes takes some of his angst out on his assistant coaches. He'll have a grad assistant run into a meeting and tell the assistant coach, prepare for battle. He'll give the assistant coach a mask and a foam sword, and then Amstutz will come running in with another foam sword, and they will go at it in front of the team. How'd you like to be in that meeting? It'll be taken by Davis at the 10, past the 20, and up to the 28-yard line. All right, so we have up here with us the foam sword. Now, yesterday, Amstutz said, I want to show you what it feels like. I mean, this thing looks like it hurts, and they go at it. He and one of the assistant coaches, it happens often. So Trevor wanted to be a volunteer.
I'm getting out of the way.
And Amstutz, I mean, he just went like that.
Pack a lunch, Louise. Try it again.
You got to hit him harder than that.
Come on, man.
How'd that feel?
Feel what?
Now, he hit you.
I had to see the replay to see that you hit me. Now, Amstutz hit me now. He wound up and put every bit of that girth into me, and it stung.
After the play, a late hit by number 2 of the receiving team. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, and it's a first down.
When he got you, I mean, the thwack was so loud in the room that we all jumped collectively.
I just want to know why you didn't hit him back, Trevor.
Look at him, man. Looks like he could take me. That's why I didn't hit him back. You know what, though? I would love to be a player where the head coach comes in and goes at it with my position coach, making all kinds of noise, hitting with those foam swords, really going at it. That'd be fun.
Play fake. Cochran to the air on first down, going deep for Odom. Overthrown, incomplete. And what would your reaction be if someone runs into a room, hands you a mask and a foam sword and says, prepare for battle? You see the word attack on the front of the helmet there of Clint Cochran? That is the motto of Tom Amstutz, not just on the football field, but in the meeting rooms, a la the foam swords.
And he uses it as a teaching tool. One of the principles is, what are your gifts? Are you quick? Do you use a sword with finesse? Or are you a bludgeoner? Do you swing it hard? And he ports that over, lessons like that to his team.
Meanwhile, anybody watching ESPN2 with the sound down has just called the police. Here's an incomplete pass intended for Andrew Hawkins out of the backfield.
I can't believe you hit Trevor.
It felt good.
You enjoyed it. Yeah, you had a good time with that, didn't you?
I did.
Well, you know what, Dave, I just want you to know that turnabout is fair play.
Oh, great.
You have hit me. You are now on deck, my friend.
The great news is Rod is in between us.
No. I know when to move out of the way.
I'll hit you with Rod.
Third down and 10 at the Toledo 14-yard line. Cochran with time. Has Odom, but he couldn't pull it in. Might have been a little bit behind him. And then Eric Washington almost came up with the interception. It's fourth down.
That ball was behind Odom. Odom runs a route to the inside of the field. Watch him come across the middle, and this ball is going to be to the right backside shoulder. Had it been upfield a little bit to the left shoulder.
Holding by number 73 of the offense. The penalties decline. It's fourth down.
Odom has been open all game long. Cochran has not been able to find him, but for a couple of times. Once Cochran and Odom are able to connect, you're going to see this Toledo offense move down the field. That is where the opportunity lies.
Well, how much of that is because of Cochran's knee?
Kern on a punt for what seems like the 50th time already in this half. And Murph, their catches at the 39. Separation Saturday continues on ABC tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. A good one between Nebraska and USC. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines. Nebraska's last win over a top 5 team, 2001 against Oklahoma. Their last win over a top 10 team on the road goes back to 1997 at Washington.
Now, Rod, you were saying that a Nebraska defensive back was trash-talking the Trojans?
Yeah, Andre Jones.
An illegal block in the back by the return team, number 23. The penalty is 10 yards, and it's a first down.
Well, maybe trash talking is a little bit overboard with it. What he said was essentially, when we beat USC in a very confident manner, and you know, when you're going into a hostile environment like that, playing a top team, you want to sneak in. You don't need to wake them up.
No, you don't need them any more angry at you than they will already be.
So after the 47-yard punt and then also the penalty, Kansas is back at its 28. Jayhawks had to thought they'd be at midfield with starting position. Out into the flat, Brian Murph. Very dangerous in the open field. They get him, though, at the 38. Very close to the first down marker. Let's check in with Heather Cox for more on the Kerry Meyer story.
Yeah, Dave, there were so many untimely deaths by college football players that Coach Mangino actually decided on mandated advanced screening for first-year Kansas players. During one of those screening, doctors actually diagnosed Kerry Meyer with a heart condition called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome that, if not taken care of, can lead ultimately to death. Now, Kerry underwent surgery to repair the problem, and Dave, doctors say as long as Meyer's condition is monitored, he should have no ill effects on or off the football field.
And Heather, no treatment necessary either for Meyer, who was diagnosed last year and then, as you said, underwent that procedure last week. And there's an injured Toledo player down. It's Tyree Pollard, a backup nose tackle.
Well, imagine you're a 17-year-old and you're told not that you have a bad knee or a bad shoulder, but that you've got a condition in your heart. What a sobering thing for such a young man to have to learn.
Off to a good start, his first road start. Now we've seen several Toledo players banged up so far in the game, including Clint Cochran, the starting quarterback. But Cochran has stayed in the game, and they're going to bring out a cart for nose tackle Tyree Pollard. 5:34 to go in the half. Kansas leads Toledo 14-9. Back in a moment. Tyree Pollard has been carted off the field, and meanwhile, on 2nd and 1, Kerry Meyer fakes to Cornish and gets the first down to the 44-yard line. Picked up 6 on the play. Mike Chamberlain made the stop.
Well, here's Pollard right here in the middle of your screen. Watch him. You see there's a lineman diving at his legs, and in my opinion, it looks like that was an illegal clip because he went below the knee. He's supposed to block above the knee, thigh and above, if you're going to hit within that clipping zone. I thought that was a low hit.
That is the rule, and it was a low hit. The official must have decided that he didn't hit him from behind. Therefore, he didn't think it was a clip. But you're right, Rod, it was low.
Little screen, and Toledo has it snuffed out. Caught by Dexton Fields, and the Rockets are all over it at the 42-yard line. Loss of 2 on the play. Let's get an update now on Tyree Pollard with Heather Cox.
Well, the junior has gone into the medical training room for x-rays. He definitely won't return before halftime. Whether or not he'll return after halftime is still up in the air. A big loss for Toledo. He has been told by, we've been told by the coaches he was the most improved on the team. He trained on the O-line all spring, then moved to the D-line, started at the bottom of the depth chart. Because of his work ethic and passion, has gotten back out onto the field.
And for Tim Rose, the only silver lining is the fact that he does play so many guys that he can just sub another man in there. Meyer stepping up in the pocket, in trouble. Sacked back at the 35-yard line. Sean Williamson. He's been all over Kerry Meyer in the backfield today.
What makes this happen is nose guard J.P. Bakaziak against center David Ochoa. He gets really good. Right in the middle. Look at the push that he gets. Meyer sees the whole front of this line collapse against him. And that's why he bugs out, and that's why the sack occurs. Actually, it's against right guard Travis Dombach. He slanted to his left to get in front of the right guard.
Yeah, I put that on the quarterback. I think he bugged out of there way too soon. He's got to hang in that pocket, and he just lost his composure there and took off too soon and ran into the sack.
Meyer, just a redshirt freshman. Here he is on 3rd down and long. Going deep. And well overthrown. And a beautiful interception. Tyrell Herbert, a terrific job to stay in bounds and pick off Meyer.
Trevor, remember in the first quarter you said he was locking onto receivers and it would cost him later? Bingo. This costs him right now. Tyrell Herbert watches his eyes all the way through and comes from the middle of the field, his safety spot, to come over and intercept this ball. He comes a long way because he was able to lock in on the quarterback.
The previous play is being reviewed.
So we have our first instant replay and first turnover of the game. Herbert, the few tackles, a pass that's been broken up, and now an interception if it stands, and it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling on the field. This was not a coach's challenge. This came from the replay official.
Yeah, check and see. Does he get a foot down before he goes out of bounds?
Yes, he did.
Looks like he does. He's got the ball. He's bobbling the ball there. That's probably what they're looking at. So whether he had control of the ball when he goes out of bounds. There's the bobble. 2 hands on it now. Does he have control? And I'm not sure from that angle you can see enough to say he doesn't have control. What do you think?
Well, in his favor, he doesn't hit the ground and have the ball bounce out. He's in bounds now, and now as he goes down, he has control of the ball and completes the catch without the ball ever hitting the ground.
The play stands as called. First down.
So it confirms the ruling on the field that it's an interception. 2 really good safeties for Toledo. Herbert, the junior, big kid, 6'2", 190. Barry Church, a true freshman, 6'3", 215.
And Herbert's a very personable young man. Loves to laugh, great big smile. We enjoyed chatting with him yesterday.
He and Mike Alston, both good kids. Hand off to Richard Davis on 1st down. Spun out of play right around the line of scrimmage. Go back to the studio. Check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, coming up on the Olive Garden halftime report, we'll give you the very latest on the Reggie Bush situation, hear from some of the principals involved. We'll play Speed Rush with Lou Holtz and Mark May, and also a Separation Saturday preview. And if I might say so, Dave, good to have you back in the booth to whip Trevor and Rod back into shape with that sword.
Hey, Reese, if you want to borrow it, feel free, as long as you hit Trevor with it. Here's Steve Odom. Makes one man miss. Up past the 45 and bumped out of play at the 46.
You know, did we tell Reese and Mark and those guys that the swords we're using here are foam and Amsets has a real one in his office? We could actually use that one.
Huh. That would be a different game. You talk about weapons, though. Steve Odom, they're starting to get him involved. And when they do, the offense moves in big chunks.
Odom with 55 catches last year, approaching 20 already this year in game 3. Cochran to the air, trying to set up the screen. And that was in the area of Richard Davis. McClinton put pressure on Cochran. Toledo starting 0-2 for the 2nd time in 3 years. Now, when they started 0-2 in 2004, they ended up winning 6 straight, the MAC title, and went to a bowl game. So this is not unfamiliar territory for Tom Amstutz.
And who was that quarterback they had back in 2004?
Here's Gradkowski, who is now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, back up to Chris Sims. Cochran says that he talks with Gradkowski from time to time, getting advice on running a football team. They fake the pitch, Cochran to the air, and he has John Allen. That might be one of the smartest connections in college football. Cochran a 4.0, John Allen a 3.5 in high school. He drew interest from Brown, but ended up going to Toledo to play football.
Watch Cochran on this play. He seems to be moving without a limp here, sets his feet much better, and gets a little bit more behind the ball there.
And very positive with this throw. When he decides where to put it, there's no floating to that football.
Pitch to Davis. Stood up and brought down by Mike Rivera. Only 2 on the play. Nice stop by Rivera, sophomore middle linebacker. Kansas comes into this game with a record of 2-0. If it were to win on the road, it would be Mark Mangino's first road win since 2004. And maybe it would legitimize Kansas as a potential challenger in the North Division of the Big 12. Or would it if they win this game?
Well, they've got a tough road schedule, and they have to learn to win on the road.
2nd and 7 at the 39. Play fake. Cochran going to the sideline through the hands of Odom. Incomplete. Well, as you look at that Big 12 North Division, obviously you have Nebraska, but Colorado's off to a bad start. Kansas State is in rebuilding mode.
Iowa State you have to consider, and when you look at the schedule for Kansas, they have to go to Nebraska and they have to go to Iowa State, and those are going to be tough environments, which is why tonight is so important for this team to learn to play on the road and to win in a hostile environment.
They don't play Texas, they don't play Oklahoma. That obviously helps them. I think Mangino would take another bowl game. That'd be 2 straight. That's never happened in Kansas's history. Hopkins, nice catch. Very close to the marker on 3rd down and 7. Toledo 0 for 5 on 3rd and 6 or longer prior to that play.
This is a tight end friendly offense. This is just a little drag by Hopkins over the middle. The tight end tends to be the first read for Cochran on almost every pass play. That's how much they rely on the tight end in this offense.
Timeout for measurement. It appears that he's got the first down based on the spot, but they'll likely bring the sticks out just to make sure. Now going back to Kansas, and the fact that Mangino's in his 5th year, he feels it's time to take it to the next level. But if you can say, hey, bowl games 3 of the last 4 years, 2 straight, that's never happened in Kansas history, that's still progress, isn't it?
Well, I think that's right, but I think he feels like he's put everything in place. And he's changed the attitude. He says, we're not going back to the days of 2 wins and 9 losses. That's over with. He's got his players that he recruited in here, his system in, and his quarterback. So I think he feels like this program is about ready to really challenge in the North.
And he's got a good future because of young players. We've seen freshman Kerry Meyer quarterback. Running back Jake Sharp, who we haven't seen yet, has a bright future. And on the field right now, number 40, Mike Rivera, linebacker, is the future star of their defense. So they look good with their young players.
Another one, otherwise, you had Gale Sayers in the 60s, and you had some years during the Glenn Mason era. Otherwise, it's been slim pickings for wins at Kansas. Odom with another catch over the middle to the 20-yard line for a first down. Akeem Talib made the stop. Toledo with 1:24 left and 2 timeouts is in the red zone.
A very good matchup. I mean, Odom beat Talib on an in route. And that's a pretty good corner that he beat. Pro scouts are already talking about Talib. They like his size, they like his speed, they like his quickness, and Odom beat him to the inside.
An ineligible receiver downfield on the play. Number 91 was covered and went down for a pressing route. The penalty is 5 yards, and it's still first down.
Did not see the yellow flag on the field, but that wipes out the first down catch for Odom. And the ball's back at the 37 now.
What that means is that a wide receiver, they called it on Hopkins, number 91. But what that means, he did nothing wrong. A wide receiver out to his left should have been off the line, and he wasn't. He was on the line, and it wasn't his fault.
That would have been the 5th catch of the day for Odom. That pass nearly intercepted. That was a tough throw to make. Anthony Webb, a true freshman, almost intercepted it. It'll be 2nd and 15. Again, Cochran's pass didn't have a lot on it.
And that's because of that knee. You know, he had a streak there where he started to look a little bit better. Earlier, he had been throwing off of one leg. It's the right knee that he tweaked in the first quarter. Put a sleeve on it, had a little bit of treatment on it, and he seems to be doing okay.
Well, he said his right knee was loose. That's the leg he steps forward onto, and if that feels loose to him, it'll make him hesitant to really step into the throw.
Back to throw again is Cochran. Going for Hopkins, and he dropped it at the 21-yard line. You guys surprised that they have completely eschewed the run on this drive?
Well, not really, not considering the timing and the receivers they have, and they've gone with short passes a lot to get down the field. There you see Hopkins over the middle, the guy they were trying to get to, and it was a perfectly thrown ball that he couldn't handle. And Trevor, back to your point on Cochran, when he's taken that 5-step or 7-step drop, he is actually pushing off of that bad knee, that right leg to come off. And you're right, he cannot generate a lot off of that with that right leg. He can't push off and come forward.
It's because of that looseness.
They go 4 wide, spread them out on 3rd and 15. 0 for 5 on 3rd down and 8 or longer. Stepping up is Cochran, and the receiver fell down and a flag flies. It was intended for David Washington. This will be an automatic first down for Toledo, whether it's pass interference or holding on the defense.
Well, it should be holding because I think that happened before the ball was in the air, and that ball wasn't even catchable.
Wow, they called offensive pass interference.
What?
On Washington. Right, you got one.
Are you kidding me?
You don't see it that often.
Let's save this.
College football.
Save it for history. Yeah, that is a serious push-off, but it's hardly ever called.
Utel also had the jersey.
From number 4 of the offense. The penalties decline. It's 4th down.
That's a big play there. Although had Washington not pushed off, it probably would have been incomplete anyway.
Well, it was a poorly thrown ball. There was no way he was going to be able to catch that, but he did just ram right into the defensive back and try to push away from it.
4th and 15 if you don't pick up any yardage here. Kansas will have decent field position. They do have 2 timeouts left, so they can use 1 to stop the clock, which would start on the ready for play on the change of possession if Toledo doesn't get the first down. Rockets are going to talk about it. They'll have 1 timeout left.
Toledo, 2nd timeout.
Tons of college football coming up. Separation Saturday. And we've got football for you on Monday night as well. Here's Mike Tirico. Miami of Ohio, one of only 2 teams to win on this field in the last 7 years, and Roethlisberger was one of the quarterbacks that got a win back in 2002 at Miami of Ohio.
Well, on this 4th and 15, I would have to believe that Amstutz is going to change his mind. It's a big risk here to take this 4th down chance. I mean, if you don't turn this over, you're going to give the ball to Kansas in good field position, and they're going to have 2 timeouts.
Four wide receivers on 4th and 15 at the 37-yard line. Kansas rushes 3. Cochran going for the end zone. And it's a touchdown. Stephen Williams caught it. On 4th down and 15, Cochran goes for it all, and Williams comes up with a catch. They are going to review the touchdown.
The previous play is used.
This is what drives coaches crazy. In this situation, you stay deep as the deepest and wide as the widest. There is no way in the world the receiver should ever get behind a defensive back on a 4th and 15 play. That should never happen. The defensive back should be almost standing in the end zone.
That appeared to be a touchdown. They're probably questioning whether he had possession of it. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it, and there is not there.
Now the question here is not whether he's out of bounds, but whether the ball bounces loose when he hits the ground. Because remember, the ground cannot cause a fumble, but it can cause an incompletion. So they're looking to see now if the ball bounced loose when he collided with the turf.
And from those 2 angles, it appears not. That should be a touchdown.
Yeah, that's just a cardinal sin defensively. That should never happen.
Well, Kansas's pass defense has had a lot of trouble so far this year. Been pretty good tonight until then.
After further review, is confirmed as touchdown.
And give a lot of credit to Williams, who's 6'5" and a great high jumper. But you gotta wonder what the Kansas coaches are thinking or saying to their players right now when you have a 4th and 15, and your only responsibility is to make sure everybody stays in front of you.
Toledo's going to go for 2. Okay, Rod, I know you disagree. Trevor, what do you think?
If Amstutz believes he will need a 2-point conversion in this game, now's a good time to go for it. But I agree with Rod. I think right now, take the point. Stephen
Williams' first career touchdown. Redshirt freshman, only his 3rd catch. They go for 2. And wide open to the back of the end zone is Nick Moore, and Toledo leads by 3. Clint Cochran doesn't appear to be banged up anymore. He's made some terrific plays in the last few minutes on this drive.
You know what he got? He got a shot of adrenaline. And completing a big pass will do that for you. Now watch to the left of your screen. Nick Moore is going to come clean. This is the touchdown pass. Watch that. That's Williams getting behind 2 defensive backs. The Kansas defensive secondary kind of falling apart there.
Justin Thornton and Blake Butel were on the coverage.
And on the 2-point conversion, to the left of your screen, you'll see number 1, Moore, come across. He's in the back of the end zone right there, all by himself. They're playing zone. Nobody paid any attention to him.
And what you see here is 2 gambles by head coach Tom Amstutz paying off. One was going for it on 4th and 15. One was that 2-point conversion. Both are very low percentage plays. However, when you make them, look at the momentum and the excitement and the body language, and more than that, look at the scoreboard, all in Toledo's favor.
As we said earlier and showed you on camera, sometimes he does things a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yep, and he's living right.
11-play, 70-yard drive and a 37-yard touchdown pass on 4th and 15. Then they go for 2. Another short kick, trying to keep it away from Hereford. Up to the 30-yard line is McAnderson, past the 40, and then lifted and slammed down right around the 43-yard line. Well, Tom Amstutz's motto is attack. They've got it on the front of their helmets. They've got it in meeting rooms when he comes in with a foam sword. And we saw Toledo in attack mode on that drive and with a 2-point conversion.
I'm just sick, though, as a former defensive back, seeing a 4th and 15 like that, somebody go behind you, I'm ill. I can't watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not nearly as ill as they're going to be when they watch it on film tomorrow.
Yeah.
Take it out.
Take it out. Oh, I can't hit him. I can't hit him. You can hit him.
All right, one more time. Here,
one more time. I'm out of the way.
Put some elbow into it, would you?
That's too much fun. We do that all season. Cornish taken down by Barry Church. Loss of 2 on the play.
Now we see that mode attack. Attack. This is part of what he teaches with that sword fighting, the attitude of a warrior. And Tom Amstutz told us that the guy that attacks wins most of the time.
And Kansas going to let the clock run out. Great finish for Toledo to end the first half. Clint Cochran, despite hurting his right knee earlier in the contest, solid numbers for just his 4th career start. And Toledo Tom Amstutz standing by with Heather Cox.
And the ultimate risk taker, coach. 4th and 15, you get the touchdown, then go for 2. How do those 2 dramatic plays change the complexion of this game?
Well, you know, I believe in our players. We had to play for it. We had a nice throw and catch. There was a time in the game when we had to go for it, and I like where we are. We feel good going into halftime.
This was a team that was heavily penalized during the first half. Are those issues that concern you?
Well, we're focused on what we have to do this next half to be a better football team, to be sharper, no mistakes, and get some more points.
Coach, best of luck. Thank you.
All right, Heather, we'll see what Tom Amstutz comes up with in the second half. Try to win its first game of the season. Now here's Reese Davis with the Olive Garden halftime report.
This Saturday Night Football on ABC. Nebraska versus USC. Saturday at 8.
This is Mid-American Conference football. Success on the field. Success in the classroom. Success in life. Mac football, 60 years of success.
ESPN2 Primetime College Football is broadcast in high definition, presented by Pioneer Plasma. Getting ready for the start of the third quarter in Toledo. It is 17-14 Rockets, and both young quarterbacks had their moments, guys, as we look at our game track from the first half.
Well, for Kansas, Kerry Meyer did a nice job early on with his feet, getting into the end zone one time running the ball. I think things changed a little bit. A lot of pressure on him, forced a couple of mistakes. They weren't able to move the ball much after that.
And Clint Cochran limping on his right leg. That's affected his play. It's affected his mobility. But even so, he's able to unleash this play to score a touchdown on 4th and 15 to Stephen Williams. And his confidence is high, even if his knee is gimpy.
Toledo will kick off to start the third quarter. So Cochran will get a little bit more time to rest after engineering a touchdown drive in the closing moments of that second quarter to get Toledo the lead. They went for 2 and converted. Herford will get a chance to return this one at the 10. Leveled at the 23-yard line, and that's where Kansas will start. Well, guys, we mentioned that touchdown by Clint Cochran and the Toledo offense to close out the first half. How damaging could that be for Kansas?
I think it could be really damaging for Kansas because it really blew a hole in the confidence of that secondary that played well early on, but near the end of the second quarter, they were not good defensively in the secondary.
And it's one thing to make a play like that. It's another thing to have it called against you because it's a low percentage play, and that's almost like a slap in the face. That's almost like Cochran saying, look, I don't care if this is low percentage, I can beat you physically.
Meyer has accounted for 8 Kansas touchdowns this year. He'll play action on first down. Has room to run and will do so. And out of play and then hit late. Flags fly. Second time that Kansas has been hit out of bounds late. Archie Donald, the guilty man that time.
And you know, Dave, it's not a big hit, but look where it occurs. You want to protect the quarterback and any player really along the sideline. There are lots of players, lots of equipment over there, and that's why the officials throw the flag on a play like that, even though it wasn't a big hit.
After the play, a late hit out of bounds by number 42 of the defense. The penalty is 15 yards, and it's a first down.
Donald, a true freshman, one of 2 that starts for Toledo defensively.
Now watch where this occurs. He's out of bounds. He gave himself up, and you get the push way beyond where the out of bounds marker is into the players and equipment.
9 penalties, and they've had 4, Trevor, that have been declined on the day, too.
And that's where Toledo has really been giving Kansas a break there. Fortunately, Kerry Meyer went into the arms of his big fullback, Brandon McAnderson, on the sideline, or it could have been a lot worse out there.
So first down at the Kansas 42. Inside handoff to Cornish. Muscles his way to the 47 for about 5 yards. J.P. Bacasiak, the nose tackle, made the tackle.
Didn't you get the sense that Cornish should have touched the ball more in the first half? He ran well, only had 9 touches in the first half. He had the sense that they were going to have to use him more in the second half.
And well, he averaged 7.1 yards per carry, partly because he had a long of 33. But the thing is, he's got that capability to wear down a defense with his size, but also break through and occasionally bust off a 30-yard run.
We talked a lot about academics tonight. Clint Cochran, the quarterback for Toledo, a 4.0 student. John Cornish is a 3.6 grade point average. He was on the Kansas Student Senate, been very involved in some things off the field, and Mark Mangino really wanted him to focus more on football, as Kansas is going to get called for delay here.
Delay of game by the offense. Penalties 5 yards, and it's still second down.
But Mangino and Cornish to talk, and prior to last year, he was moved. He was moved to linebacker, and then there were some injuries, and Cornish ended up back at running back, and he had a terrific year. Had 9 touchdowns and 780 yards rushing.
What did he say? If he only ran for 1,000 yards this year, he'd be disappointed.
No, he's already close to 300. And this is game 3 with a 12-game regular season. Pass over the middle. Huge hit. Barry Church. But holding on to make the catch was Marcus Henry. Church, a big kid, true freshman, 215 pounds, and all 215 went right to the chest of Henry. Let's take a listen.
He knocked the ball loose for a fumble against Iowa State in the opener. He was very, very nervous, and that was his first contact. And the fact that he forced a fumble on a huge hit, he said, you know, that got me relaxed, and even I was surprised how well I did after that.
But Henry hung on to the ball. It's 3rd down and 4. Meyer pumps, creates some space and throws it away. Meyer just fell down there. No Toledo player hit him. Alston was chasing, and it's 4th and 4.
Well, Toledo's doing a nice job of putting pressure. Watch Alston break through, and with his speed, he can get right on Meyer in a hurry. He forced him to throw that ball away as Meyer was trying to wait for one of his receivers to come open along the sideline.
Kyle Tucker for his second punt. Steve Odom back to return. It's a high kick. Odom lets it bounce, and it takes a couple of Kansas hops. Odom probably should have ran up and caught that, but instead let it bounce. And Toledo and quarterback Clint Cochran will start at the 7-yard line. Well, we've talked a lot tonight about Cochran's grades. Let's hear from the sophomore quarterback from Wadsworth, Ohio.
A lot of times it's a problem that, you know, can really honestly have some sort of, you know, historical or medical background. Designing some way to deliver a drug in, you know, a stomach with this acidic concentration, you know, this barrier membrane viscosity, like things like that can just things that could actually happen in the body, and actually solving real world problems is kind of a thrill, actually.
Parmalee takes it to the 13-yard line.
Did you get those words for Trevor? Acidic concentration, viscosity. Yeah, you follow those? You okay? You got that?
No.
Biotransport phenomena, just one of the classes that I can't even understand those words up there on the screen. Thermodynamics, I've heard of that.
Well, how is chemistry only the 4th hardest class?
And how is biotransport phenomena number 3 and not number 1 in terms of level of difficulty? James McClinton just grabs Parmalee and holds him up. No gain on the play.
Depends on which series of calculus you take, which can be really demanding.
Let's take a look at an example of a question, see how you guys do. Okay, this is from the thermodynamics class. An engine operates on a Carnot cycle, extracting energy at over 606 degrees Celsius with an efficiency of 0.5227. What's the temperature of the reservoir where the excess energy is dumped?
Do I have to show my work?
I think the answer to that clearly is Jimmy Hoffa.
How about hot? How about really hot?
Both are pretty good. We'll give you the answer coming up. On 3rd and 4, Cochran forced out and does a smart thing. Throws it away. All right, here's the answer. Of course, you guys really knew it.
Jimmy Hoffa?
No, not Jimmy Hoffa, but Rod, you were kind of right. It's pretty hot, 146 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
I was going to say 143.7, but
yeah, well,
I didn't want to brag.
No. It's just about, you know, whether you show your work, though, how you get there.
Well, practical application, he's trying to study one thing, brain chips that might help Alzheimer's one day.
Kicked by Kern. Will take a Kansas hop. There's a penalty flag down, and then some pushing and shoving after the play. Kansas, if the penalty is on Toledo, will have excellent field position after only a 37-yard punt.
Sideline warning on Toledo. First warning.
Toledo by 3. We'll let you catch your breath after that thermodynamics question. Back with more football after this. Welcome back to Biotransport Phenomena Central here in Toledo, Ohio. Clint Cochran, perhaps the smartest man in the stadium, 4.0 student. On the bench right now, though, and the other quarterback, Kerry Meyer, gets his 3rd start in Toledo territory tonight, but only 14 Kansas points. And they trail in the game. Cornish will get the ball. And he falls down. He's trying to reverse his field. And he fell down for a loss of 3 at the 47-yard line. He has not done much wrong tonight when he's gotten the opportunity to carry the football.
He had no chance. 96, J.P. Bakaziak goes in and gets penetration and completely stuffs that play. And he's going against David Ochoa, who's on the watch list for the Remington Award and Lombardi Trophy as one of the best interior linemen in the country.
Cornish had a career-high 140 yards last week, 65 yards tonight. Meyer to the air, being chased by Alston. Meyer gets away from him and hit out a play at about the 44-yard line, so a loss of 3. Stephen Morrison makes the play defensively for the Rockets.
Yeah, but Alston made the play. And Alston, with his speed, disrupted the play, forced Meyer outside. And that's exactly the way they use him in this defense. They want to take advantage of the fact that he is incredibly fast at that linebacker position.
Mark Mangino's team did not win a road game last year. They won all their home games, went to their second bowl in 3 years, won the Fort Worth Bowl. Trying to get to 3-0. One more non-conference game against South Florida before they get the Big 12 play. Meyer did well to get out of there, tripped up at the 48-yard line by Greg Hay, and it'll be 4th down.
Well, Ron, we've talked about the maturation of a freshman quarterback. This time there were 3 receivers downfield. All of them were covered very tightly. And so he took off and ran. Now take a look at the receivers. Take a look as they go downfield. You're going to see tight coverage. Right here, here, and here. Just see the coverage as they get downfield. Now there's 3 guys that have gone down, and everybody is covered. So he takes off and runs instead of tries to force it in.
Timeout. Toledo. First timeout.
They had 12 men on the field, so they had to call timeout. Now, they haven't used a challenge yet. And so that may impact whether Tom Amstutz would call for a challenge later in the game, because you got to keep those timeouts, especially in a close game.
Well, not only that, I think because of the new timing rules, that coaches are learning that they need to save their timeouts, that they're really a premium about those things now.
Well, you guys were talking about the new timing rules, and that is the focus of our Friday night debate. Now when the ball is kicked off, the clock starts when the ball hits the foot instead of when it touches the opponent. And the clock also starts on the ready for play whistle after all changes of possession. You guys like the new rules in college football involving the clock?
You know, I don't, for this reason. When the play starts, or the clock starts on ready for play, the offense can run off 24 seconds without even running a play. That leads to, in the last 2 minutes of the game, 3 or 4 plays taken away from a potential game-tying or game-winning drive, and I think those plays should be available.
Okay, so Trev, you don't like it. Rod, we'll get your take after the punt by Kyle Tucker. Steve Odom back at the 15-yard line. Odom will let this one go again. And again, Kansas is going to pin Toledo deep in its own territory, this time right around the 2-yard line. John Cornish is down there. Rod, your take.
Well, I like the rule the way it is right now, because the goal, remember, was to shorten the game. And it's done that. It's working in that sense. Now, should it be tweaked after the season? Perhaps there's a way to look at that. And the other thing is, keep in mind that coaches who are complaining about this rule now, they had an opportunity to look at it and comment, and they chose not to. And I think now it's incumbent upon the coaches to deal with it this year and to do the thing that you need to do, which is save your timeouts. And then after the season, if you want to revisit the rule, revisit it.
Okay, Trev, you don't like it. Rod, you seem to like it, at least for now. Trev, I want to know what you think about what should change after this play. First down from the Toledo 2. Cochran in trouble, got rid of the pass. Incomplete. Trevor, what would you change then?
The idea was to shorten the game, but I think they can do that by just not stopping the clock on a first down.
And that looks more like a cramp for Cochran. He hurt his right knee earlier in the contest, had cramps, as we told you, earlier in the season. Let's take a look here before, Trevor, we get your answer. It looks like he's trying to work out a cramp, though, in that leg. Right in his face was Wayne Wilder. He did land on him. And immediately he went for his calf area.
Yeah, he's massaging that like he believes he has a cramp. And as you mentioned, he did have that problem. And they're massaging the calf area again right now. So it really does look like it's a cramp, which is different from the knee injury he suffered in the first quarter.
Yeah, to a different leg. It was the right knee. All right, Trev, so what would you augment with the clock rules?
If the idea is to shorten the game, if all you do is don't stop the clock on a first down, then the game would still be shortened, but you maintain the same clock management rules and paradigm at the end of each half. And I think those are some of the most exciting times of a football game. I don't think we should take away plays from a potential game-winning drive.
What about going to what the NFL has with 5 minutes at the end of the game and in the last 2 minutes at the end of the first half? You stop the clock. Otherwise,
you go back to the old rules. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. But again, I say that is something to look at the end of the season. And there was an opportunity before the season for everyone to look at it and to point out the concerns. They didn't do that. Let's play this season, adjust to it any way you need to right now. And after the season, everybody has an opportunity again to say, let's try this. Let's do first down. Let's have 4 minutes or 6 minutes to go. You go back to the old rules. That's fine. But for right now, we found that the game is shorter as intended.
All right, we're going to take a break as they continue to work on Clint Cochran's left calf. We'll talk more about our Friday night debate when we come back to Toledo. They're continuing to work on the left calf of Clint Cochran. Meanwhile, Brandon Summers, who's thrown 1 pass in his career, comes into the game. And look where he's starting from, the 2-yard line, 2nd down and 10. Handoff, Davis. And he gets drilled to the floor by Kemp and McClinton after a gain of maybe 1 on the play. 3rd down and long coming up for Summers, who's thrown 1 pass, and it was an interception. Let's get Heather Cox in here for an update on Cochran's situation.
Well, it has been confirmed that Clint Cochran is definitely cramping in those lower legs. I talked to the medical staff, and they said all they can do for him is hydrate, give him electrolytes, massage, and stretch. Now, I also asked what you can do during the week for a player that is prone to cramping. And he said typically it's all about heat management and hydration. Heat, not an issue tonight. It's actually rather cool. But he did say that stress, too, can add to cramping, and people especially that are prone to cramping.
Meanwhile, Summers gets tackled in the end zone for a safety, our 2nd safety of the night. This time Kansas gets it. John Larson makes the play on Brandon Summers, the backup to Clint Cochran.
Well, Brandon Summers, a redshirt freshman. It typically takes about 2 years for a quarterback to get acclimated to all the decisions to be made in this offense. And Summers, more of a classic spread offense quarterback because he's a great runner. That's why they move the pocket. But he loses his footing and doesn't realize that at this point, with the defense closing around, he needs to throw it away and punt. That's a freshman.
I don't blame Brandon Summers for that. I think that's a very difficult position to put that young man in at that point in the game. I mean, he hasn't been on the field. You can play it very safe and you can just pound the ball out and kick it away. But the guy's been sitting on the sideline for a long time, and the first time he touches the ball is on the 2-yard line. That's a tough place to be.
Let me ask you this, guys. Why do you throw the ball in that situation and roll him left?
That's my point. Yeah. That's my point. My point is that's a tough spot to put him in. I mean, you just turn around and hand it off and then kick the ball away. You know, play the field position game, give yourself a chance, but you're asking a guy to do something in a very tough situation, and I'm not sure how fair that is to him.
Question is, will Summers get another chance? Depends on, obviously, the cramping of Clint Cochran. And now Brett Kern of Toledo will have to punt it from the 20-yard line. That's what Toledo's going to elect to do. You can kick or punt it. Murph and Lamb are back for Kansas. It'll be Murph at the 40 and up to the 44-yard line. Eric Heller on the tackle, and midway through the 3rd quarter, Meyer will come onto the field and see if he can lead Kansas to another score and retake the lead.
Well, this is the time for Kansas. They've had a safety. They've got great field position. This is the time where momentum comes back to them if they can take advantage of it after what happened at the end of the first half with giving up a touchdown pass on 4th and 15 right before halftime.
First down at the 44. And they fumble the snap. It's scooped by Meyer and incomplete. That was a forward pass intended for Brian Murph. And guys, why not feed Cornish at this point?
Well, that's what we've been talking about, Trevor, right?
Well, he had a lot of yards in the first half. Part of the reason was that the defense was laying back a little bit. The defense was actually outnumbered by blockers on a lot of Cornish's biggest plays. Now the defense is starting to come up and stack the line a bit and say, hey, Cornish is gaining a lot of yards. Let's put it into the hands of the freshman quarterback, see what he can do.
Well, you know, it's worked with a shovel pass to him. I think you just got to get the ball to him in space.
On 2nd and 10, Meyer to throw again. And going down is Dexton Fields. And it is incomplete. Barry Church on the coverage. It's 3rd and 10. Kansas is at excellent starting field position this half, averaging of own 40-yard line. And meanwhile, Toledo averaging at its own 5.
Watch the end of the play here. Watch Barry Church come in. He jumps on, and is that a punch or does he grab him? Looks like he almost took a little swing at it.
Church, a true freshman from Pittsburgh, leading tackler on the team. 3rd and 10. Meyer with time. Has Murph. And he's going to be about 6 yards short of the first down. Church again on the play. Morrow is also there for Toledo. So Kansas gets the safety, but after it gets the ball offensively, it goes 3 and out.
And Rod, you make a good point. By throwing the ball on first down, instead of giving it to Cornish, they ended up with 2nd and 10 and then 3rd and 10. And that's tough for that young quarterback.
Well, and remember how they started the ball game. They started the ball game with some runs to make 2nd down short. And they were able to move the ball. They've gone away from that pattern.
4th punt of the game by Tucker. The last 2 have pinned Toledo inside the 10. This time Odom goes for the fair catch, and he has it at the 12. So again, poor starting field position for Toledo, but its starting quarterback, Clint Cochran, will be back on the field.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime.
Tony Pacco's Cafe in Toledo, some of the best dogs in Ohio. A lot of celebrities have eaten there, including ESPN's Lou Holtz.
All right.
You get to sign a bun, and they put it up there.
I'm not touching it.
What, the bun or the signing? Clint Cochran back in the game. Tried to hit his tight end, Chris Hopkins, and it's incomplete. So Clint Cochran is back on the field. Here's Heather.
And during that last series, Cochran was pounding the fluids, and the coaches seemed quite reluctant, actually, to put Cochran back in this series. Cochran at that point got very animated, somewhat agitated, yelling, "It's just cramps. I'm going back in." Clearly, this coaching staff listens to its quarterback.
Well, Heather, I think the coaches know that those cramps are going to come back. Once a player starts cramping up in a ball game, it tends to continue the rest of the game.
2nd and 10 at the Toledo 12-yard line. Summers, the backup, was out there for 2 plays, and the second one resulted in a safety. Running play to Parmalee, no room along the sideline, and then gets leveled by Mike Rivera. It'll bring a 3rd down and long.
Take a look at Clint Cochran. It's been a tough night physically. Hurt the knee in the first quarter. Affected his ability to run, and then he started cramping up after he started taking some shots.
And look at this shot, right in the kisser, and that's when it caused that cramp to occur. You get a hit like that, your muscles convulse.
Well, you've probably had the same experience I have. When you start getting cramps in a game, they don't go away.
No, it's hard, and even the next week it can be hard for them to go away.
3rd down and 8. Toledo 0 for 7 on 3rd and 8 plus. And Cochran trying to fit that one in there to Odom, and it was knocked down by Washington, incomplete. 4th down, but guys, Toledo still leads this football game.
Yeah, you wonder how. I mean, Kansas blew an opportunity with great field position that last series. But think about Cochran for a second. He's got the right knee that's hard to push off of. He's got his front leg, the left one, that cramps up when he goes off of that one. I mean, how are you going to deliver a ball with authority?
He's going to have to use all of that intelligence, because now the key is to get the ball to everybody else. He can't do much.
Jonathan Lamb back to return this punt. Lamb racing forward, and again Kansas will start in Toledo territory at the 47-yard line. Coming up tomorrow night, Saturday night on ESPN at 7:45. Clemson and Florida State as separation Saturday continues. Bowden Bowl 8. Tommy and Bobby squaring off in Tallahassee. Fellas, who's going to win this football game?
You know, I'll say Florida State, and it's one reason only. Same reason I picked them over Miami. Defense. I think they have as good a defense as anyone in the country.
I think Clemson's going to come at it with a really strong running game, so they're going to need to use that defense at the line of scrimmage.
Inside running play to Cornish. Nowhere to go. Spilled at midfield. Eric Heller on the play. So a loss of 2 as they do feed it to Cornish.
We'll give a lot of credit to Tim Rose, the defensive coordinator, for attacking inside, eliminating the running plays. Look at all the blue jerseys around the line of scrimmage there, bringing a lot of guys to disrupt the blocking pattern there, focusing on first down to create second and long.
They want, if they're going to be beat, to be beat by the freshman quarterback, Kerry Meyer, not Cornish.
Toledo's defense giving up 38 points per game so far this season. A little bit skewed because they played a triple overtime game against Iowa State. On the run is Meyer, and he gets to about the 43, picked up 7. It'll bring up third down. Mike Chamberlain made the tackle for Toledo.
You know something? If I were Kansas, I'd come right back with the same quarterback draw play. I mean, they run that with confidence. And they can be in 2-down territory here, even if they don't pick it up. They can take a 4th down shot at it. I just wouldn't trust Meyer throwing the ball over the middle of the field right now with 5 defensive backs on the field.
Well, right now, playing the field position game works for them. They're only down by 1.
1 out of 8 on third down is Kansas tonight. 3rd and 6. And a pass into the flat. Murph breaks a tackle, has the first down. To the 33. Barry Church made the stop 11 yards downfield.
Well, Rod, you said that it would be wise not to have Meyer throw the ball over the middle in this situation, and they didn't. They throw a pass that is impossible to be intercepted out to the flat and let the receiver do the work.
You're right. This is just one of those little screen passes. You get your receivers blocking out in front of you. It essentially becomes a running play, a sweep, if you will, because you get the ball out to the perimeter in a hurry.
Kansas winless on the road last year, 3-17 under Mark Mangino, playing one of the toughest places to play, the Glass Bowl. Downfield pass into the end zone, man wide open, and it's a touchdown for Kansas. Marcus Henry fell down and still pulled it in for the score. A 33-yard touchdown pass to Henry, who was wide open.
Take a look at Mike Whitaker. He's going to block Alston, number 44. Alston, who has been in Meyer's face all game. And by pulling out there and getting it, he allows this throw, and it looks like he does catch it.
Well, they are trying to get the PAT unit on the field as quickly as they can before it is reviewed. And
the previous play is being reviewed.
Well, they were able to call down before they set up for the PAT. Hard to tell if the ball hit the ground. And again, it's got to be indisputable. Video evidence has to be conclusive to be overturned.
But from that angle, you'd have to say you don't have enough evidence to overturn it.
I like what Marcus Henry did, though. He got up and he looked at the official as he was celebrating. Now,
this is the best angle here.
Now he's got his left hand under that ball, and it looks like he scoops it up. And then when he jumps up, he almost looks at the official to see what the official's going to call.
Well, that doesn't look like enough to me to say that he did not catch the ball.
Yeah, I think he did. I think his left hand is between the ball and the ground.
And in real time, it looked like a good catch as well.
That will be the 3rd touchdown pass of the year for Marcus Henry. How did he get so open?
Looked like a blown assignment. They had 2 receivers to that side streaking down the field.
When you talk about that protection, when they pulled left guard Bob Whitaker out to block number 44 Mike Alston, Alston had been coming upfield and forcing Meyer to throw the ball before he wanted to throw it under duress. And they adjusted by getting Whitaker out there in front of Alston, and that's what gave Meyer the time to just uncork that ball.
Okay, here's a question, guys. If it is a touchdown, well, let's get the call first, and I want to ask you about whether to go for 2 or not here. I think I know your answer, Rod, whether to go for 2 or not.
After further review, the play is confirmed as called. Touchdown.
So it's 22-17. Kansas has the PAT unit on, going for one. Is that the right decision here?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You know, it's the same old rule I've given you for the last several years. You know, you wait until the fourth quarter, you just play the game, keep tacking on your points.
Trev?
He obviously feels, Mangino, that he doesn't need a two-point conversion down the road.
Extra point good. So it's a 6-point game.
You didn't really put yourself on the line there, huh?
Well, no, I think it all depends on what the coach feels. There's a lot of criteria that go into it. I mean, you look at the momentum. You see your players' eyes on the sideline. Is there a play in the game plan that the defense hasn't adjusted to? You're on the road. Do you think you're going to need a two-point conversion later on? And if you do believe that, then it's a good risk to take it earlier rather than later. If you don't, then, Rod, yes, you're better off kicking the PAT. But there's so many different criteria that go into it. And a lot of times, coaches that do decide to go for two in a situation like that really get ripped up by people that aren't aware.
All 22. Let's take a look at the touchdown. Deep third here. Two receivers threatening down the field, stressing that corner. He has to choose which way to go because he gets no help from a safety in the middle. A blown coverage there, and you have a receiver wide open.
Third touchdown of the year for Henry. Fifth touchdown passing for Kerry Meyer. And Kansas has scored 9 points this quarter to take a 23-17 lead. And the health of Clint Cochran, the Toledo quarterback, in question as he continues to deal with cramps. Richard Davis and Andrew Hawkins back to receive the kickoff from Scott Webb. Kansas trying to go 3-0 for the second straight year. Toledo trying to avoid an 0-3 start for the first time since 1988. Richard Davis takes a knee. Toledo will start at the 20. Back to our Friday forecast. A good one tomorrow, featuring Oklahoma and Oregon. And what will the atmosphere be like in Eugene? How will it affect the game? Will be seen on ABC at 3:30 Eastern tomorrow.
Well, I think that Oklahoma has played in a lot of tough environments, but it's a different deal playing up there in Autzen Stadium. They've not played there yet. It's a small environment. It's very loud. I've played there, and I can tell you, you can't hear when that crowd gets going. I think it'll be a different thing for Oklahoma. That gives Oregon a real advantage.
I think Oregon has an advantage to a quarterback. Dennis Dixon is running that spread option offense just with great precision. And against Fresno State last week, he really took apart a very good defense.
Play fake for Cochran, trying to dump it off, does. For a gain of 1 on the play. Josh Powell with a catch. That'll bring up a second down and 9.
Also a pretty good matchup in that Oregon-Oklahoma game. A couple pretty good running backs. Adrian Peterson, Jonathan Stewart.
And Oregon's defense allowing 153 yards rushing per game on the season. Peterson obviously a Heisman Trophy candidate. Running play on second down and 9 to Parmalee. And he's to the 25 and slammed down. Let's bring Heather in for more on this running back matchup in the Oregon-Oklahoma game.
Well, everybody hoping for a great matchup of the 228s. The big question for Oregon is whether or not running back Jonathan Stewart will play. I did talk to the Oregon staff today. Not only will he play, he will start. He's participated in practice all week long, full contact practice, and certainly hoping to make an impact. And Rod, as you talked about, it's a tough place at Autzen Stadium. Oklahoma has been practicing all week long with earplugs in.
We had Heather Cox working the phones.
And she's always working. Come on. That's Heather.
Third down and 5 at the 25. Here comes pressure. Cochran hit. And it's knocked down to the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. John Larson, who came up with the safety, knocked down the pass. Cochran remains on one knee. Again, slow to get up.
Slow to get up and seems to be limping and favoring that right leg a little bit.
Paul Como put the pressure on him.
98 from the top of the screen gets the hit. A little help with more pressure coming that time. A lot of blitzing by Kansas.
Jonathan Lamb signaling for the fair catch. Has it at the 33-yard line. Will Cochran be able to hold up over the last 17.5 minutes? His team trails by 3, 23-17. Well, that Oklahoma-Oregon game, just one of 7 featuring ranked teams. First time since 1993 this many games matching ranked teams. 7 of them.
You know, the one that really jumps out at me, besides the Michigan-Notre Dame game, that Miami-Louisville game is not getting as much attention, but I think that's a must-win game for Miami. They cannot afford to lose that game. I think Miami has enough speed and defense to handle Louisville.
There's that quarterback keeper you were calling for, guys. Meyer out to the 40 for 7 yards. Archie Donald on the tackle.
Well, Rod, you mentioned the Notre Dame-Michigan game. Last year, Notre Dame won, but Mike Hart, Michigan's great running back, didn't play. And Mike Hart, a key, I think he has the capability to control this game. And if he does, it'll make it a lot easier on Chad Henne, and Michigan's got a chance.
Yeah, I think you're right about Hart, but, you know, Henne did not play well last year. I think he's going to bounce back this time, but I think Notre Dame is still too strong.
Florida-Tennessee game's interesting. Tennessee had a strange start to the year as Faithful takes down the quarterback Meyer. No gain on the play. Tennessee blows out Cal week 1, and then week 2 they barely beat Air Force.
Well, Air Force has one of those offenses that can make you look a lot worse than you are. It's a very highly evolved option offense that they've got a Bible against every single possible defensive front. And if you're a half step slow there, they will move the ball.
And just further on that point, Trevor, preparing for that in 1 week is hard to do. If you're playing them for the opening game, you can sort of get set for it. But when you have 1 week to get ready for the Air Force option, you almost have no chance.
Plus, you're coming off a huge win at home over Cal. Everybody thinks Tennessee's back. 3rd down and 5. Myers pass overthrown. He had Fields, and he threw it too high. Make that Henry, who was open. He threw it too high, and Kansas will have to punt it away. Mark Mangino hoping that his Kansas football team will be a challenger in the Big 12 North. They've got a game with Nebraska coming up on the road at the end of the month. South Florida's next, so there's a chance that Kansas could be unbeaten going into that game in Lincoln. Although South Florida's undefeated on the year so far, and Toledo giving them a game at home. Rockets 34-2 since 1999 here at the Glass Bowl. A punt that takes a Toledo hop. Tucker's 3 previous punts this half, all down inside the 20. But Toledo's going to get excellent starting field position for a change. That's one of the reasons why they haven't scored this quarter. And Kansas has 9 points. They've started every time inside their 15.
But another reason is Kansas's defense. They had to replace 8 starters, and they think that the 8 replacements, while not as experienced, are more athletic. They've got more speed, and they have shown it tonight.
First down at the Toledo 40-yard line. Cochran. And another pass batted down, this one by Rodney Allen. Back-to-back passes batted down by Kansas defensive linemen.
Well, if I'm Kansas, I'm thinking I want to keep pressure on Cochran, make him move those bad legs, the right knee, the cramping left leg, and to make sure nobody gets behind you deep, play some zones. So bring pressure up front, but play deep zones behind it.
Second down and 10 at the 40. Draw play. Davis past the 45 to the 47.
Rod, if you're the offense and you're expecting the defense to do exactly what you said, bring pressure from the defensive line, play zone behind it, what do?
You run draws or screens.
Let it run by the rushing defensive line and have that zone take extra time to get out of their back pedal and come up to make a play.
Third down and 4 at the 46-yard line. Will they run a play here? 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Yes, they will. Cochran faces pressure. His pass incomplete. Odom would have been well short of the first down anyway had he pulled it in. So Toledo will have to punt it away when we come back as we go to the 4th quarter. Kansas leading by 6 over Toledo, trying to get its first road win since 2004. Back in Toledo, where they're working now on the right calf area of Clint Cochran, who's having some cramping in the left calf earlier. His team trails by 6. Both quarterbacks have had their moments. Cochran, a sophomore. Meyer, a redshirt freshman for Kansas. Got a rushing touchdown, passing touchdown as well. Kern to punt it away on 4th down. Lamb signaling for the fair catch. Has to back up and get it at the 11-yard line. Well, the 3rd quarter, in part because of the punts by Kyle Tucker, getting Toledo deep, belong to the Jayhawks. Only 17 yards for the Rockets on 15 third quarter plays.
And look at your 3rd downs. 0 for 5. 0 for 5 and 1 for 5. Not a pretty third quarter.
For Toledo's offense, it's a gorgeous third quarter for Kansas's defense. All that youthful speed is being effective.
You could also say that perhaps they left some points on the board too. They had that great of field position, only had 9 points, and 2 of those were on a safety as they run Cornish forward for about a yard to the 12.
So Kansas is really struggling offensively on first down now. And I think that right now you have Tim Rose keying in on first down, and he's got him game plan to take away first down. They haven't done anything on first down in a long time. They've been in 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 8, and that's hard on a young quarterback.
So 2nd down and 9 at the Kansas 12-yard line. Tim Rose would love to come up with a stop here and give his offense good field position, something they haven't had for a while. Meyer through the hands and picked off. Bo Martin with the interception. And a huge turn of events here in the 4th quarter. Through the hands of Henry and into the arms of Bo Martin. And Toledo takes over inside the 10.
Bo Martin, number 5, is just sitting back there in the zone, reads the quarterback's eyes, and gets right on line. That ball pops up. He's standing right in the right position to take advantage of.
Yeah, ball's thrown high, but Marcus Henry has got to make that catch. He's about 6'4", didn't really have to jump very high to get it. It goes right through his hands. He has to make that catch.
1st down and goal at the Kansas 8. They line everybody up on the line and around it. They hand off to Davis. Planted at the 5-yard line by Mortensen. Got 3 on the play. Second down and goal. And there's an injured Kansas player down. That's Paul Como, their outstanding senior defensive end.
You know, we've had so many penalties tonight and stoppages of the clock that the rules really haven't shortened this game.
At least not yet. We'll see what happens in the final 5 minutes, and considering that it's looking like we're going to have a very close game, the clock will certainly have an impact on the final minutes, and Toledo's already used a timeout. 23-17, Kansas leads, but Toledo's got a 2nd and goal. Here at the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio. Rockets trying to get their first win of the year. Kansas trying to go 3-0. Dave Pasch, Rod Gilmore, Trevor Matich, and Heather Cox. Clint Cochran, the starting quarterback, sophomore for Toledo, has battled cramps and a right knee injury throughout the contest, but he's in the game right now. Running play, Davis. Inside the 3 to about the 2-yard line. Jerome Kemp on the tackle. It's 3rd and goal.
Well, just looking ahead to 4th down, if they don't get it here, you can rest assured that Tom Amstutz will go for it on 4th down. Even though a field goal would probably bring him within 3, I bet he would go for it on 4th down.
Knowing his personality, that his motto is attack, I would agree with you. 3rd down and goal at the 2. Hopkins in motion as they go with 3 tight ends again down here. And they give to Davis again, and he is pushing for the goal line, and he's going to be short. Mike Rivera made the initial hit. It's going to be 4th down and goal at about the 2.
And you know, when you have the sword in your office and you go into team meetings attacking people and you talk about teaching that, you have to go for it here.
We're talking about that foam sword that he will come in and attack his assistant coaches during meetings. And they get into sword fights in front of the team to try to fire the players up. 4th down and goal. They're going with 3 tight ends. Richard Davis in the backfield. Ball at the 1-yard line. It'll be Davis again. And Davis is spun down, but in the end zone. Touchdown, Toledo. They gave it to Davis all 4 times on that possession.
They look at 91 Chris Hopkins, 255-pound tight end. Leads the way, doesn't get a solid back, but he forces the linebacker to react to him, and in reacting to the block, he can't make the stop.
And wow, guys, they might review that if they can in time. Alex Steigerwald on for the PAT, and they snap it. Extra point hits the upright and goes through. But that could have been a play that was reviewed. It was possible that his knee was down before the ball crossed the plane of the goal line.
Well, all plays are reviewed, but obviously they did not feel that they needed to stop the clock and review further.
And Kansas could have challenged the play, but didn't. Richard Davis with his third rushing touchdown of the season. The extra point good, and Toledo retakes the lead early in the fourth quarter. He carried it all 4 times on a drive that started at the 8th, and they did not further review or challenge this play. This is 4th down. Was his knee down before the ball crossed the plane?
Well, his knee wasn't, because his knee was actually on the defender, Eric Washington. I think, though, his rear end hit the ground before that ball crossed the goal line.
Marcus Herford awaiting the kick. And I don't know if he thought he was in the end zone or not, but he paused for a second, and then he slips down at the 21-yard line.
Well, Trevor, I think you're right. I think when you take a look at that replay, he appears to be down, and the ball doesn't appear to cross the plane, but there may not be enough evidence from that angle to tell that. Now, there he looks like he's down. But the officials did not stop this play for review, so it's irrelevant. But as we look at it, that looks like he's down there, and the ball had not crossed the plane.
But the key thing being down, not his knee. His knees were on the defender. It's his rear end that looked like it was on the turf.
Well, when you're down, you're down.
Tom Hoffman, the replay official. Now, Kansas could have challenged that, but elected not to. They get 1 challenge per game now per team in college football. Derek Fine, the tight end, takes it out to the 30. It's a gain of 9 on the play after Toledo gets its 2nd touchdown on 4th down tonight.
We'll give Toledo special teams credit. They sent the PAT team out at a blistering pace to hurry up and snap that ball.
Yep. You're absolutely right. They got it done quickly, so the replay officials did not have time to stop play if they wanted to. They couldn't get it done.
2nd and 2 at the Kansas 29. Cornish on the inside handoff. And he's down. No, it's a fake. Running with it is Meyer. Flag down. Excellent fake. Faked everybody out. Half the Toledo defense. And Meyer is out at the 45, but again, a penalty flag down in the area of holding. Great ball handling by Kerry Meyer, but it's all for naught. Coming back.
Holding number 6 of the offense. The penalty is 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and replay 2nd down.
That's on wide receiver Brian Murph downfield.
Well, Rod, this works so well as a fake, because watch Cornish on the fake. He doesn't just now slow down. He runs. He ducks up into the line. The defense still thinks he has the ball.
Yeah, he's also reading Sean Williamson, number 92, the defensive end on that read option, and Williamson came down. Meyer had the wide open left side of the field. No containment there.
Back to a 2nd down and 1, because that's a spot foul. So it's just like redoing the play, and it doesn't appear that they got the 1st down.
There have been 3 plays that have been quarterback keepers that fooled everybody. And it's because they carried out the fake as if it were the actual run. And I've heard coaches say, don't just make it look like a run, make it sound like a run. Come off the ball. Let's hear the pads click. Let's hear you grunt like you're pushing them, and the defense will buy into it.
A good spot there, and they get the 1st down from the 31-yard line. Cornish in the backfield. 66 yards and a touchdown for Cornish rushing today. Meyer in trouble, eludes Williamson, and then gets crushed at the line of scrimmage at the 31-yard line by Eric Heller. Sean Williamson in the backfield again. Kerry Meyer did well to get away from him.
It's all about 1st down. 1st down has been a problem. Sean Williamson to your left of the screen. Right there. There he is, and he'll come around and make this play. But it's first down that Tim Rose and Toledo, they're coming with a lot of pressure to create a second and long situation.
10 to go from the 31. Ball fake again. Meyer airing it out downfield. A leaping attempt that is dropped. Incomplete. It was intended for Dixon Fields. It'll bring up 3rd and 10. Jeff Green on the coverage.
This is not the situation they want the young quarterback to be in, Trevor.
It's not. He takes a big hit from Williamson coming from the left of your screen and gets the ball to the receiver anyway. Now take a look at number 92 Flash. Here he comes right there. Bang. Knocks him to the ground, but here's the ball. It's accurate. It's there.
Mike Chamberlain may have gotten his hand in there to break it up. There was a drop ball earlier that resulted in an interception by Toledo, and then they got a touchdown. On 3rd and 10, Meyer, and this time it's caught by Herford for a first down at the 44-yard line. Let's check in with Heather Cox with an injury update.
Guys, Toledo will have to defend its lead without starting safety Tyrell Herbert. He had a great first half with that early interception, but now on the sidelines with ice on that right shoulder, pads off. He is finished for the night. But guys, defensive coordinator Tim Rose says he uses his entire personnel. He's hoping the drop-off isn't too much without Herbert in the secondary.
Well, Herbert is one of those key starters. He has 4 of them, Tim Rose does, that plays most of the game. The other starters usually rotate in and out. Jeff Green will get the bulk of the work here in the 4th quarter. Herford again on the catch inside the Toledo 40-yard line. About 17 on the pickup. Green with the stop downfield.
Well, Herbert is missed in that secondary. He's a veteran player, a very good player. He gets all of the check calls. He keeps them in the right coverages. And you're talking about Jeff Green stepping in for him, who is a good player, but not as experienced and doesn't run the defense the same way that Herbert does.
Toledo by 1, under 9 to go in the final frame here at the Glass Bowl in Toledo. Cornish on the carry, through a seam, and inside the 30 to the 25. 14 on the pickup.
They keep pounding away with Cornish, and he's been stuffed a lot, but this time the blockers outnumber the guys in the box to stop the run. And could that be because Tyrell Herbert is out and they're trying to support Jeff Green? Now you've really got 6 guys in the box, and here comes the gap up the middle. They're trying to support Green with extra safeties deep.
Cornish, who committed to Kansas without visiting. He sent some tapes out growing up in Canada as Meyer takes it to the 23 for 2 yards. And as soon as Kansas viewed the tape of Cornish, they wanted to sign him on the spot, and he's turned out to be a pretty good one. Had 9 touchdowns last year, averaging almost 6 yards a carry tonight, and close to 300 yards on the season so far.
And he's going to wind up playing in the Canadian Football League, more than likely, having been a first-round pick.
They get a shot at the NFL as well. 2nd and 8 at the Toledo 23. Kansas with 5 rushing plays of 12 yards or more. They run that shovel pass, and Cornish does it all. Gets away from 2 defenders and out of bounds at the 19. Toledo was on it, but Cornish made 2 men miss and picks up about 4
yards after contact.
Well, that's that strength we're talking about.
Yep.
He's got the strength to be able to break those initial tackles, but then the acceleration and speed to be able to outrun people to the corner.
3rd and 3. 11th play of the drive coming for Kansas. The Jayhawks are 3 of 11 on 3rd down tonight. Meyer. And his pass picked off. And Toledo's going to have a touchdown. It's true freshman Barry Church. Touchdown, Toledo. An 84-yard interception for a touchdown, the first career pick for Barry Church. And it comes with Kansas driving and a 3rd down and 4 at the Toledo 19. Steigerwald on for the PAT. Even if he makes it, it's still a one-possession football game. 31-23 Toledo. Myers interception results in a potential back upset once again. Well, Toledo was favored, but many would consider this an upset. It would be the second in 2 weeks for the Mid-American Conference. Akron won at NC State last week. Go back in 2003 when Marshall was in the MAC. Won at Kansas State, ranked 6th at the time. And Toledo on the road at Penn State in 2000 beat the Nittany Lions. Plus, Tom Amsted's team has won at home against Pitt, Minnesota, and Purdue. 34-2 at the Glass Bowl since 1999, and they have a 31-23 lead on Kansas. 7:19 remaining in the fourth quarter. Tim Rose's defense has been spectacular. 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, a touchdown, and a safety for the Rocket defense. Taken by Kurtenbach, one of the upmen, to the 31-yard line.
Take a look at Myers' eyes. He stares down his receiver the entire time. Doesn't look any other place. And then safety Barry Church sees it, jumps it, and he's off for 6.
Well, take a look at what Barry is watching. Barry Church right there. He's covering a short zone, the flat. He's got deep coverage behind him. And Trevor, he's looking at the eyes, like you said, and he drives on the ball. That's a basic coverage, a basic mistake by Meyer. Never saw him out there in the short zone.
A lot of time left, though. Only a one-possession game. Play fake. Meyer looking for his tight end Fine. At the 36-yard line, he's brought down. Gain of 5 on the play. Forrestall with the tackle.
And in watching film of Kerry Meyer this week, one thing we noticed was that he never looked from one side of the field to the other. He always looked in the direction of his receiver the entire time. He's a young quarterback, and they don't want to give him too much to read. But if we saw that on film, you know that Tim Rose and Toledo's defense also saw it on film.
Kansas with all of its timeouts remaining. Cornish gets the call on 2nd and 5. Not a lot of running room. Maybe 2. Mike Alston with the tackle for the Rockets. 22 points off of turnovers for Toledo. Defense has just been outstanding. 3 picks, as we mentioned, including that last one by Church that went for a touchdown.
Well, this defense has been great since Tim Rose came over here. Last season, they made a dramatic jump in defense with him at the helm, and they're continuing it this season.
They led the MAC in scoring defense a year ago. Kansas without a takeaway today. That's how Toledo's even in this game. It's amazing that the Rockets are up, considering every time Kansas had the ball, for the most part, it seems like they've been able to move the ball rather easily. Meyer on 3rd and 2. And it is pulled in. Gang tackled at the 47-yard line is Dexton Fields, and it's a Kansas first down.
Well, Trevor, the important thing to be looking for now, if you're Kansas, the Kansas coaching staff, is really how does Meyer respond to that touchdown, that interception for the touchdown, the pick 6? Is he confident? Is he shaky? And the coaches, are they afraid to let him throw the ball over the middle? Not on that one.
They've been impressed with his maturity. Even the guys in the huddle, seniors in the huddle, say he doesn't seem like a freshman. But now the pressure is there. How will he respond?
That was 3rd down and 2. They could have easily thrown a short pass or handed it off to Cornish, but he threw downfield. Now on 1st down. He'll dump it off, but overthrew Cornish. 5 minutes, 2 seconds remaining, and you wonder at what point does the timing become an issue, as the clock will start, as the new rules indicate, on the ready for play, on a change of possession, and on kickoffs, which probably isn't as much of a factor as the clock starting ready for play on the change of possession.
Well, I think most coaches agree that the team behind is at a real disadvantage now in trying to catch up with the rule change. However, Kansas does have all 3 of their timeouts, so they're in as good a position as you could be with the rule change.
Meyer to the air on 2nd down. That shovel pass. Cornish bobbled it. And then beautiful open field tackle at the 43-yard line. by true freshman Douglas Westbrook. Maybe saved a big game. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Well, speaking of the debate, I can make the debate for both of the coaches. Talked to both of them. Coach Amstead likes the changes. Coach Mangino ironically said, I like it except for the last 6 minutes of the game. He said it seems to fly by. Before you know it, the game is over. I'm sure, guys, he's feeling that right now.
Yeah, Mangino told us that he and a lot of other teams
Toledo
have to prepare in the summer differently for those last 5 minutes. It's like you've got to add something new to your practice regimen to try to train for that situation that you might have in the fourth quarter of game.
Well, I think you're right. I think coaches are having to adjust to it and think their way through it. And one of the things that they're finding is that timeouts are really at a premium in the last 5-6 minutes of a ball game. So you really don't want your offense blowing a timeout on a delay of game penalty. You don't want to trade that 5 yards that you save for a timeout later.
Well, here's why. The rule change that matters here is that it used to be that on change of possession, the clock would not start until the snap. Now the clock starts when they wind it for ready for play. Now what that means is that the offense doesn't even have to run a play for 24 seconds of the 25-second clock to run off. Snap it on the last second, then 24 seconds are gone. The defense then might have to come out of a TV timeout and call another timeout before a play's even run to save that time.
And Toledo, if Kansas scores, is at a major disadvantage because they only have one timeout left.
So the thing you have to think of as a coach, save your timeouts, use the passing game, get first downs because the clock will stop temporarily when you get a first down, and use the sideline.
3rd down and 7 at the Toledo 44. Kansas with all of its timeouts, as we mentioned, and Toledo with just that one remaining. And both teams have their challenge left. Meyer has time, and he's got Herford, and he gets to the marker and dragged down by Church. It's going to be close at the 37-yard line. They'll stop the clock to determine whether it was a first down, and then they'll start it again.
Well, they've marked it as a first down. They're not even going to measure this one, and the clock will start again. Crossing routes are working for Kansas.
Marcus Henry went out to the right, drew 3 defenders. Herford took off to the left. Nobody followed him out.
Middle of the field has been wide open. We saw a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. And looking middle again, and a big hit by Greg Hay, and it's incomplete. Hay laid out Herford, who is slow to get up at the 23.
And I want to tell you, Meyer threw the ball in the same fashion as he did on the pick 6. And Greg Hay could have picked it off. You see how Greg Hay went for the hit. Had he been watching the ball, he could have gone for the ball. Hit's pretty good, though.
2nd down and 10 from the 36 of Toledo. One possession game, touchdown and a 2-point conversion with tie. Meyer has a man wide open. It's Henry along the sideline of the 20. Wrestled out a play over there by Hay. It's a gain of about 15 and a first down.
But we talked about the composure of the young freshman after throwing that interception that was returned for a touchdown by Barry Church. How would he respond? And he doesn't look any different now than he did in the first quarter. He looks calm. His body language is even. His eyes look like he's in control.
And Mangino and company are trusting him. They're letting him throw the ball over the middle, throwing it down the field.
This is his first road start. Only his 3rd overall start as a redshirt freshman. He finds Fields, who makes a beautiful move inside the 10, and it's a touchdown for Kansas. They're within 2.
Well, no question what you do here. You have to go for 2 to tie the ball game.
And that's what the coaches signal in, so they will go for 2 to try to tie it. And if they don't get it, there's plenty of time left. And you have all of your timeouts. 3:54 on the clock. 20-yard touchdown pass. Meyer to Dexton Fields. The 2nd for Fields on the season.
And that was just your basic wide receiver screen. And a nice job by Fields getting himself outside, running with the ball after the catch.
Kansas, 2nd timeout.
Wow, Kansas calls a timeout here. Want to make sure they get the right play, but now you burn one of your timeouts.
Correction.
If you don't get it,
First timeout.
if you don't get the 2-point conversion, now you only have those 2 timeouts.
Well, I understand that, but I think they want to make sure everybody is on the same page. They have the right play, that they get what they need here. A nice block down the field by Marcus Henry, tying up the corner out there so that Fields could get into the end zone.
And they've got 3 receivers to that side. That gives them 2 blockers out in front. And Jonathan Lamb threw the key block on Barry Church that allowed Fields to get up in there. Wasn't the only block, but look at number 8. And then 11 Lamb goes in there and gets that block. And everybody else is looking at their man in coverage, and that split second between transitioning from coverage to tackle was enough.
Kerry Meyer with 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown rushing. Take a look at our stats summary. Total yards of Kansas dominating. Time of possession, Kansas dominating with those 3 Jayhawk turnovers. Reason why Toledo leads by 2 right now, but a 2-point conversion forthcoming, at least an attempt by Kansas.
Well, you see the advantage and disadvantage of playing the freshman quarterback, Kerry Meyer. He's a very talented, very mature young man, but he's got some tendencies in terms of where he looks that the defense of Toledo has picked up on, and some of those turnovers have come because of that.
Right now, what do you think in Kansas? Option down here, tight end? I'm thinking they might want to have a little bit of option work here because Meyer moves so well with the ball.
I think because of that, they'll go to the tight end over the middle because the Toledo defense will be here and here to stop the option, leaving the middle potentially open.
They bring McAnderson, the fullback, into the game and go out of the eye with 2 tight ends. Kansas going for 2 to try to tie the game. Here is the option. Meyer keeping, and he's into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. Somersaulting over the goal line and in to tie the game at 31.
And not just over the goal line, he jumped over Stephen Morrison, the linebacker, who was on the ground, right over him. Watch this. He's just going to leap over everybody who's there.
And a nice landing to boot.
9.8.
Tucked the head beautifully and made sure they didn't land on his helmet. And the redshirt freshman has tied the game. 3:55 to go in the 4th. Don't go away.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime.
Kansas trying to do what only 2 teams have done the last 7 years. That's win at the Glass Bowl in Toledo. Kerry Meyer with a great effort on the 2-point conversion to get in and tie the game at 31. Clint Cochran, the quarterback for Toledo, will be up next after this return by Richard Davis. Going the long way. And he's got a lane and a beautiful tackle from behind at the 28-yard line, and now a flag flies in. McAnderson made the stop, but again a penalty flag on the play. That was a 6-play, 69-yard drive by Kansas to tie the game. And a personal foul on the Jayhawks. Toledo with just 1 timeout remaining. Got a good field position to start, though, this drive.
After the play, a late hit by number 36 of the kicking team. The penalty is 15 from the end of the run, and it's the first down.
Oh, that's a very late hit. I mean, you've got the ball carrier, Davis, getting up off the ground when the second hit comes in.
That's just foolish right there. Now Toledo will start at the 44. Little play action. Cochran in trouble. Eludes the defender, and it's knocked away at the last second by Aqib Talib. He was suspended the first 2 games of the season for violating team policy. He's back in the starting lineup. Their best corner makes a great play.
Take a look at the 2-point conversion. Derek Fine is going to block Morrison and Forrestal, both of them. Now, first number 47 is down. Now, here comes Forrestal, and watch the same guy, Fine, get his body in front of Forrestal and allowed that 2-point conversion to occur.
Cochran on second down. That little flanker screen to Hawkins. He's loose. And scoots out of play at the 46. Got only a couple. Now Cochran has battled a knee problem, cramps to each leg. Does he have enough to get through and get Toledo a win? They already played an overtime game this year. He didn't want that. They lost a triple overtime game at Iowa State to open the season.
Well, we talked about how smart he is almost all night long, but you might have to add very, very tough on top of that. He's dealt with a lot of adversity tonight.
4.0 student in bioengineering. It's his 4th career start, trying to replace the all-time leading passer at Toledo in Bruce Gradkowski. And Toledo calls its final timeout. 3rd down and 7. The play clock was at 1.
Timeout. Toledo. 3rd timeout.
So there's no way that Toledo can challenge now because it doesn't have a timeout. Obviously, they can still get a replay from upstairs. And then they also can't stop the clock on that change of possession, if that's even a factor down the stretch here.
But what it means is that they are really in a tough spot now. This 3rd down, they need to convert. They probably will not get the ball back if they don't convert on this 3rd down. And they can't afford to go for it on 4th down in their own territory because of the tie right now, 31 all. They can't give a short field to Kansas.
Meyer has been very, very good at times tonight. Had some redshirt freshman mistakes, but looks like he's a guy that by the time he's a senior is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the Big 12.
Well, I've been impressed with him, but the thing that was most impressive to me was the way he responded to the pick 6 that he threw.
Yep.
He came right back down the field. He wanted the ball in his hands. He made throws, and he made plays with his feet.
Again, just a redshirt freshman.
Yep.
3rd and 7. Toledo again out of timeouts. Cochran with time. And it's through the hands of the intended receiver, Richard Davis, incomplete. He would have had the 1st down. Instead, Toledo will have to punt.
You think that Amsted's thought about it for a second, Trevor, about going for it?
I don't think he thought about it for an instant. Not this time. Because you're right. Right now, it would be very difficult for Toledo to get the ball back with any time should Kansas go down and score.
And if you don't convert on 4th down, you're basically giving Kansas the game. Couple plays with all their timeouts, or 2 timeouts left, and they get a field goal. Lamb back to receive the kick. It takes a great hop for Toledo. Can they get down there in time? No, it's a touchback. Walter Atkins was hustling down there to try to keep it from going into the end zone, but Kansas will start at the 20-yard line.
Kerry Meyer, 2nd half, not so good at times. As David Church takes one back the other way. But he's had a little bit of help from his friends to get back in the ball game and made some big plays himself.
He has. It's been big play after big play for Myers. Some his way, some the other way.
Cornish on 1st down. Gets dragged down at the 22-yard line. Only a couple on that play. And Kansas has 2 timeouts remaining. Meyer has thrown 3 picks today, but has looked very good at time. And get a promising young quarterback for Mark Mangino. Can he get Kansas to 3-0 for the 2nd straight year? Trying to get Kansas to back-to-back bowl games for the 1st time in school history. That's complete to the tight end Fine, a couple of yards shy of the 1st down at the 28-yard line.
Now, Kansas place kicker Scott Webb is very accurate inside of 40 yards, but he doesn't have a long leg. And so they will need to get down inside of 40 for a field goal.
He had made one this year. Had a short attempt earlier in the game. Missed that. Missed a 27-yarder earlier this season. That pass short-armed and incomplete. Herford, the intended receiver. Meyer didn't get it to him, and Kansas has to punt it away. And Toledo, without a timeout, will get the ball back. Game tied at 31.
Not a good series for Kansas. Not only did they not get a 1st down, they moved awfully quickly, burned no time off the clock, and have to give the ball back to Toledo.
Keep in mind, Kyle Tucker has had some problems with the snap this year. He's mishandled one punt, and that goes off the side of his foot and out of bounds. And Toledo's going to get great field position. Well, he mishandled the snap earlier this year, a 20-yard punt and a 28-yard punt. That wasn't very long either. And Toledo will have it at the 50. And Tucker, a very good punter, considered an NFL prospect. He's a junior. Not off to a good start this year, though, although earlier this half he had 3 great kicks pinning Toledo deep. So again, the clock running on the change of possession on the ready for play. So about 17 extra seconds go off the clock. Cochran back to throw and incomplete. And the only man in the area was an offensive lineman. And there's an injured Kansas player. Paul Como again, second time that he's been down on the field. Put pressure that time on Cochran.
Well, looks like he throws to big number 73, John Luna, the right tackle, who goes out there on the screen. Yeah, there he is. He's saying, whoa, why is there a ball at my feet?
You can't throw to 73.
He's just throwing it away. Should that be grounding? He's throwing it away without the intent of trying to complete the pass. There was no back in the area.
Well, Parmalee was there. Yeah, Parmalee was somewhere in the area, not quite there to catch it, but he was at least close enough to make the argument that he was throwing towards his running back.
Now, Kansas isn't arguing it, so apparently they agree with you. Let's see how close Parmalee is to it here.
Well, he's going to show up to the left of your screen. Right there. See? So you can make a pretty good argument that he was moving towards the ball.
And that'd be tough to throw that flag at this stage, too. And a true freshman kicker for Toledo, Alex Steigerwald, getting ready to warm up. Second down at midfield. Cochran has time, and it is tipped and incomplete. Nearly picked off by Kansas. Blake Butel had a shot at it for the Jayhawks. It'll be 3rd and 10.
You know, both quarterbacks have had trouble recognizing the underneath zones. You know, they see the deep part of the field, but they don't see the guys who are playing in the short zones who come back to help out.
Well, what saved him this time was the strength of his arm. That ball came in so hot that the defenders couldn't really reach up and grab it. They just tipped it.
And Sadiq Mohammed hobbling off. Now, if Toledo doesn't pick this up and has to punt, Kansas may have to use one of its timeouts to stop that clock on the change of possession.
They absolutely should. Yeah, they really should.
Which would still leave them with 1 to set up for the field goal unit if they were to get close. But here's a 3rd down and 10 for Cochran and Toledo. And the pass nearly intercepted over the middle by Mike Rivera. 4th down.
But what Kansas would have to do on the change of possession if they don't want to use that timeout is just get the offense onto the field so that as soon as the ready for play is signaled, they could snap it immediately.
Brett Kern ready for a punt, but a whistle.
Well, what happened there was that Toledo is on the short side. It's on the hash closest to the Toledo bench. They ran their punt team out really fast. It took longer for Kansas to get their punt return team out, and the ball was snapped before the punt return team was ready.
And most officials say they will give both teams an opportunity to get their units on the field before the ready for play signal.
So they should put time back on the clock, get it back to 1:26. But again, we saw about 17 seconds go off the last time we had a change of possession. So unless they call a timeout, you're still going to have time run off. It may not be the full 17 if you get them out there quickly, but you're still going to lose some time.
Please reset the clock to 1:21.
Wow.
They're saying that whole thing from snap to kick only took 2 seconds. That's interesting.
Lamb awaiting the return, his 3rd attempt. Basically back there to make sure that he catches it. Murph is more the dynamic punt returner. Lamb signaling for the fair catch. Has it right around the 17-yard line. And just keep in mind, Scott Webb has not made a field goal this year. He missed A field goal earlier this game, a 48-yard attempt, and earlier this season missed a 27-yarder.
But typically, if they can get inside of 40, that 27-yard miss is an anomaly for him. But his season-long attempt right now is only 27 yards that he's made.
Well, Kansas needs to be careful. Remember, Meyer has had trouble with the short zones, not seeing people there. They need to throw the ball down the field, not in the short zone.
They run Cornish, and they gave up about 10 or 12 seconds. They're electing to hold on to one of their timeouts. They have 2 remaining. Let's take a look at Scott Webb in pregame. He was actually on in pregame. Hit a 50-yarder. Junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, split in the uprights from 50 in warm-ups. We said he missed a 48-yarder earlier. Wow, Kansas apparently playing for overtime. They've let the clock run down inside of 30 seconds. And they run Cornish. You guys like this decision?
Yeah, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You've got a young quarterback. You recognize that you're having trouble throwing the ball underneath. There are guys that he doesn't see in those zones, and you just don't want to air it out, throw it down the field, and get it picked and set them up. I think Mangino's making the right decision here.
Trev?
I think with 2 timeouts, he's got to give himself a chance. At least run some of those wide receiver screens and get the opportunity for a catch and run.
We're going to overtime. Toledo lost in triple overtime to start the season against Iowa State. See if they can beat a Big 12 team in overtime at home when we come back. Back in Toledo, where tight end Chris Hopkins trying to fire up the team, getting them ready for overtime. A wild way to get here. 5 lead changes, 2 safeties, 2 two-point conversions, 2 fourth-down touchdowns, 17 punts, 17 penalties.
I'll just go over a couple of things with you. We're going to have a toss here. You'll call it like
each team will get a possession at the opponent's 25-yard line here in overtime.
You cannot defer. You'll choose offense, defense, or which side of the end of the field we're going to play. The loser of the toss will get the other option. If we go into subsequent overtime periods,
guys, who has the advantage? He that has the ball first, or he that has it second?
It's like baseball. You want to be the home team. You want to bat second, so you want to have the other team out there first, so you know what you have to do after they've had the ball.
We're going to start on the 25-yard line, whichever end.
Toledo trying to avoid an 0-3 start for the first time since 1988. Kansas trying to get to 3-0. And now with a 12-game schedule, you can be a bowl team at 6-6, so Kansas would be halfway home. Jayhawks trying to get to a bowl for the 2nd straight year. It's never happened in their history.
Have we learned anything about Kansas tonight as to whether they are a real threat in the Big 12 North?
What do you think?
I think they have to get better in their secondary, because Nebraska will throw the ball on them. But I think they have the potential.
Take a look at our overtime rules. We mentioned each team getting 1 possession from the opponent's 25-yard line. Don't have to worry about the clock changing on the possession. Play clock only. And if we get to a 3rd overtime, you must go for a 2 after your touchdown.
And that's what happened to Toledo against Iowa State in the opener. They got to that 3rd overtime. Iowa State scored a touchdown, went for 2, got it. Toledo came back, scored a touchdown, went for 2, but that was when quarterback Clinton Cochran's legs were cramping up. He threw a pass into the end zone for that 2-point conversion, but because his legs were cramping, he didn't have the velocity on the ball. It gave the secondary time to converge and knock it away. That having been said, Toledo, having gone to overtime in the opener, gives them an edge here with the experience.
How about the fact that Toledo in the second half had no first downs, yet they are in overtime with Kansas. Toledo ball at the Kansas 25. Play action. Cochran looking for his tight end Hopkins, and no gain on the play. Good open field tackle by Blake Butel. Trevor, have you seen anything? Rod, we got your take on Kansas and the Big 12 North. Trevor, have you seen anything that would lead you to believe that they can challenge this year?
I do. And I like the linebackers and the general speed of the defense. Rod, you mentioned the secondary has to play better. But the front 7 is so active and so fast. And last year, they were the 3rd-ranked run defense in the nation. They have the capability this year to be as good. And I think that bodes well for their Big 12 season.
So the best thing they have going for them in that division is it's pretty weak.
And Toledo has to burn its timeout.
Toledo. That's their only timeout for the period.
Kansas still has its timeout remaining. Surprised that you take the timeout as opposed to taking a penalty at that point, or running the play?
Well, I think the surprise was that they took so long to get themselves situated to run their second down play. They had no choice at that point. If they hadn't taken the timeout, they were going to be in a 2nd and 15 situation, and that might be impossible for them to score.
Well, field goals are important. The single most important thing in overtime is do not turn it over. Because if the ball stays right on the 25, that's a 42-yard field goal if they don't advance it at all. So they've got to give themselves a chance at least for a field goal.
2nd down and 10 at the Kansas 25. Cochran. Pass over the middle, deflected, and it is incomplete. Almost picked off on the redirection. Oguntadu almost intercepted it for Kansas on the deflection.
Was going for Hawkins. There are 3 defenders around him. And it's a miracle that this ball doesn't get picked off.
Going back to our Kansas discussion for a moment, guys, I'm kind of more wait and see. Not sold yet because I don't believe this Toledo team is the vintage Toledo team that we've seen for the last 7 or 8 years.
I agree with you about that. I just happen to think that division of the Big 12 is not very strong, and that gives Kansas a shot.
We'll know more tomorrow night when Nebraska plays USC on ABC. They run Parley on 3rd down. He hurdles a defender. He's inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. Great individual effort by Jalen Parley to pick up the 1st down as they run it on 3rd and 10.
This is all about breaking tackles by Parmalee. He's got to the 2nd level, and now he leaps over one defender, and he's able to drag himself away from an arm tackle where his shirt got grabbed, and that's what made this happen.
1st down and goal at the Kansas 8. First down for Toledo since the 3-minute mark in the 2nd quarter. Parmalee gets the call again. Downed at the 5. Picked up 3 on that play. Allen and Kemp team up to make the stop for KU.
This is the area where they are very good with their tight ends. You've got Hopkins at 6'5". They will also use John Allen, number 83, who's 6'5". They can use those tight ends down here for mismatches and for a touchdown pass.
And with Cochran's leg a bit gimpy, one thing Kansas' defense doesn't have to worry too much about is a quarterback run.
2nd and goal at the 5. Cochran out of the gun. They just get the play off. Cochran fumbles the ball, and he recovers at the 12-yard line. Como has it as well. Let's see if they give it to the quarterback, Cochran. Como got in there at the last second, but it should be Toledo ball.
Yeah, they were trying to set this up for Hopkins, the tight end, to get him to the right corner of the end zone, but Cochran couldn't handle the ball.
Well, center Hassan Adebessin goes to his right, and when he does that, his hips point in the opposite direction to the left of the quarterback, and that's what makes the ball sail to the left.
Penalty flag on the play.
An illegal shift by the offense. 2 players moved, and the whole team never reset for a full second. The penalties decline, and it's 3rd down.
So they take the play, the 6-yard loss on the fumble. And it's 3rd down and goal at the 11-yard line. Kansas blitzes up the middle. Cochran in trouble. Got rid of it at the last second, and that might be grounded.
Well, the official's trying to get his flag out.
And there it is, and he drops it. Mike Rivera got to the quarterback, Cochran. It'll be a penalty and a loss of down. Means it'll be 4th down. And they've got a true freshman kicker in Alex Steigerwald, who's going to have a relatively long field goal attempt after the penalty.
Intentional grounding by number 11 of the offense. He was still in the pocket and didn't throw the ball beyond the neutral zone. It's a loss of down at the spot of the foul. 4th down.
And because it's a spot foul, along with losing the down, I mean, this is a long field goal for Steigerwald, but it's 4th and goal. You got to try the field goal, don't you?
Yeah, you have no choice. I mean, this is going to be a 42, 41-yard field goal.
But
and
they're going for it.
They're going for it? You've got to be kidding me. You got to try and get points on the board.
They've used their timeout here in overtime. Now, they did score a touchdown in something similar to this.
Kansas should be backing up in the secondary. There is no reason why they shouldn't have guys back around the 10 or 5-yard line.
Timeout. Kansas.
Yep.
Their only timeout of the period.
Remember, at the end of the second quarter, they scored on a 4th and 15 from the 37-yard line. They're at the 24 right now.
Well, and that's why they used the timeout. And their guys were not prepared to handle this. They were too close to the line of scrimmage. Look at this. They've got a guy over here, a guy here, and a guy here. They're outflanked. They have 2 guys covering right there. And they're too close. Somebody ought to be back here and back here. And they're short a guy. So that's why they burned the timeout, to get set up defensively. Too many mistakes in the secondary.
True freshman Alex Steigerwald has kicked once this year. Prior to today's game, it was a 36-yard attempt that was good. He has not attempted one today, and apparently Tom Amstutz feels that 41-42 yards is out of his range, and they're going to go for it on 4th and goal at the 24.
Well, you have to ask yourself, are the percentages better that you can make the 42-yarder, or you can make a 4th and 25, throw the ball into the end zone?
But in this case, the coach will go to his freshman kicker, look him in the eye and say, can you make this? The kicker will always say yes. The question is then, does the coach believe
it? Yeah, if you don't believe him, I guess you're right.
Toledo trying for its 3rd, 4th down touchdown of the night. Opening possession of overtime. Cochran throwing it up, man down there, and it is almost caught again by Stephen Williams. He caught the touchdown in the first half. He almost got it on the redirection. Well, now Kansas gets the ball, and all they have to do is kick a field goal and win. But remember, their kicker is 0 for 2 on the year. Hasn't made one yet this season.
And Kansas still almost gave that up. Talib was out there in the corner, number 3. And instead of getting way back there and waiting, he allows the receiver to get behind him. That was, again, Williams, who's 6'5", and that's a mismatch. He almost came up with that.
But you see what Talib did, though? He turned around to look for the ball, and when he jumped, he didn't go up. He jumped back into the receiver. And the fact that he was playing the ball at the same time he did that, he didn't draw a pass interference penalty.
But he shouldn't have been in that position. He should have been behind the receiver from the start. The receiver never should have gotten behind him.
Let's see what Kansas does. First down to the 25. All they need is a field goal to win the game. They're going to keep it on the ground with Cornish, and he fumbled the ball. Toledo appears to have recovered it. No signal yet. Yes, Rocket football will go to a second overtime. Barry Church recovered it.
Unbelievable.
Was that the right decision not to kick the field goal on first down, guys?
Yeah, I think you have to try and get closer.
Church recovered it. Cornish never had it. We go to a second overtime. A wild first overtime. True freshman kicker Alex Steigerwald replacing the MAC Special Teams Player of the Year from last year, Jason Robbins. And he has not kicked tonight. Only one field goal attempt on the year. He made it. He may get an opportunity here as we go to a second overtime. Do you believe what just happened at the end of the first overtime? All Kansas needs is a field goal after Toledo went for it on 4th and goal at the 24. And on their first play, they can't even get the handoff to the running back.
Well, they ran the read option, which is a reading play where the quarterback has to decide whether to get it or take it from the fullback, from the running back. And they just had a little miscommunication. He rode him a little too long, and the ball popped out. Would have been a lot safer just to turn and hand the ball off, or even run one of those little screens or something.
Trev, are you with Rod? You would not have kicked the field goal on first down?
Absolutely not, because that seems to be a safe play. It's been working all game long.
First down to the 25. They run what appears to be that read option again, and Cornish gets maybe a yard as Mike Alston wraps him up. It'll be second down.
Well, one thing Kansas has to do is stay away from strong safety, Mr. Church. tell you, Barry Church has had a great ball game. 11 tackles, a pick 6, 2 tackles for losses, and a fumble recovery. It's been all over the place. A true freshman.
Now that INT for a touchdown.
That would be the pick 6.
Yep. I'm with you. I get your lingo. Under center, Meyer on second down. Run the option. Meyer going to keep. And he gets pinball forward to the 19-yard line by Donald. Gain of 5. Third down and about 4 coming up for Mark Mangino's Jayhawks.
Now the question becomes, do you try to get the 5 on the ground, or do you let your rookie quarterback drop back and do a riskier play through the air?
I think they'll let him throw it. And I think they'll let him throw it with the crossing routes, the combination crossing routes they've used, where he's been able to make a choice of throwing it outside or throwing it as the guy drags across. And this is the formation they've run it out of.
Meyer steps up. And he's going to get taken down. And a flag flies in. Face mask. J.P. Bakaziak made the tackle. And somebody for Toledo might have been Bakaziak with the face mask. Is it a personal foul face mask? It would be an automatic first down. It is 15 yards. Had it been a 5-yarder, they may have still had to measure to see if he got the first down. But because it's a 15, it's definitely a first down. And it was Bakaziak. Second time today he's been called for.
Dragging the face mask, number 46 of the defense. The penalty's half the distance to the goal. It's an automatic first down.
Yeah, look at the head spin around. He doesn't actually have the face mask. He's got his hand up under the helmet on the side. Same effect, same rule in play. And when the head spins around like it did, that's when they call 15.
First down at the 10-yard line of Toledo. Had that only been a 5-yarder, they may have had to measure to see whether he got enough yardage for the first down. Meyer throwing the fade, and it's intercepted. Running down the sideline is Bull Martin, his second pick. And now Toledo can win it with a field goal. Well, they let Meyer throw it on first down and goal, and he throws his 4th interception of the game.
And just poor execution. Whenever you throw a fade route, you have to throw it to a spot far to the corner where only your guy can get it. You never leave it short inside.
Now, if he scores on this,
game over.
Would have won.
Yeah, game over if he scores. We saw that last year when Ohio beat Pitt. 5th turnover by Kansas.
Yeah, you can't win ball games when you turn it over like that. 5 times.
And the second out of 2 possessions in overtime.
Well, you know Toledo's going to run at least one play. They went for it on 4th down and goal at the 24 the last time they had it. Running play to Parmalee, trying to get to the outside. Does. Inside the 15, to the 5. Toledo wins. Touchdown, Parmalee. Toledo gets its first win of the season. Kansas its first loss as Parmalee gets his 2nd touchdown tonight. (37-31) the final. Parmalee with a 25-yard run for a score.
Well, he tries to go up the middle, but he sees it collapsing, and instead of putting his head down and plowing in, he lets it collapse, and then he slides out to the right, and contain had been broken, and he gets into the end zone for a huge victory for Toledo.
Kerry Meyer with 4 interceptions on the game. as Kansas falls, and Tom Amstutz is with Heather Cox.
And Toledo gets its first ever win against a Big 12 opponent. And Coach, you guys have a knack for knocking off BCS schools. What does this win say about Toledo football?
Well, it's a good win for our players. Our players played hard. It was a great game. I take my hat off to Kansas. They played very hard. It was a good football game. I enjoy a win. Our players deserve a win. They've been practicing hard. They haven't given up after 2 disappointing losses, and they're here playing their hearts out, and I'm proud of them.
You talk about those losses, 0-2 to start the season. What type of questions does this answer about the team?
Well, I just think it's these young men have a lot of character. I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of their parents. They did a great job raising these young men, and I'm proud of our coaching staff. I think we really had them prepared to play a really tough opponent, and it was a great night.
Hard to believe with this win in the second half, your offense didn't have a first down. What did the defense do by scoring 22 points off of turnovers to help you out in this game?
Well, again, hats off to our defense. They made the plays when they needed to, and that's why football is a great game. It's a team sport, and our team played their hearts out, and great win for us.
The team motto's attack. They certainly did that, guys.
And they're 35-2 since 1999 at home, with wins over teams like Purdue, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, and tonight, Kansas in double overtime. 37-31 the final. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more on this game, we'll be on ESPN News in just a moment to wrap things up. For Rod Gilmore, Trevor Maddich, Heather Cox, I'm Dave Pasch saying so long from Toledo. Now time for Quite Frankly on ESPN2.